All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Biblical Hitman, folks. My name is Steven, host of the show. We're in a new studio. Let's get it. And I got my brother S90 in the building, one of the best researchers I have come around. And we're going to get into a lot of interesting things, folks. But before we get into all of those things, be sure to come over and support the channel over on patreon.com/The Biblical Hitman. Get all of your ad-free early access, group chat, direct chat. All of the chats are over there. And come on over and support the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, like the show, and share it with your friends. And drop a comment down below about your thoughts about the things that we get into tonight. And it's always the best place that I can interact with the people. Also, come on over to the audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, or Spotify, wherever you can consume any of your podcast content. It's where the show is. And I just only encourage those. If you like the show, you had a good time, be sure to leave a review, and a nice one, hopefully. And be sure to hit that follow button, hit that notification bell, and all of that good stuff. But, bro, welcome back, man. What's going on?
Evening, Steven. Thank you for having me back on to continue the crazy train of thought that we sort of started last time. And we'll be looking at it kind of from a different angle, where obviously the thumbnail gives it away a bit. We're here to talk about some UFOs and some aliens. But when people think of UFOs, kind of what comes to mind will be little green men, what planet they came from, what shape their craft is, how it flies, abductions, secret bases, crashed craft, right? I'm not going to talk about any of that. I barely look at any of that stuff, to be honest. I've never really been particularly interested in that. When I say, let's talk about like aliens and UFOs, I'm saying, let's talk about the people talking about the UFOs and the aliens, right? The tangibles, yes. The things we can really look at and really get a grip on here. And there are a lot. There are a lot of people, and there's too many to name, more than any one person could ever know. So I've chosen what I think is a fair selection, many of whom the audience will already have heard of, and there'll definitely be some new ones to be sure. I considered trying to organize this chronologically, from World War II onwards, kind of to the present day, but it was too difficult because I'd be jumping around from character to character like it was Game of Thrones or something, and it didn't have the same coherency. So what I've chosen to do is I want to give a few minutes or, the proper amount of time to each of the players in order to illustrate what I think, it'll paint a bigger picture of what the UFO truth headliners are kind of up to in quotation marks, and I say up to in quotation marks because from this vantage point, hopefully by the end of the show, I think, I'll bring forward a point where it looks quite organized, and it's been organized for a long time. And I definitely think that some of the players in this scenario are deceived rather than deceivers, and we'll cover that as we get to them. But that kind of doesn't change the outcome if this succeeds, again, in quotation marks, right? Whatever this, getting people to believe in something that, we have no proof of yet. Pre-programming people.
Right.
So.
Well, one thing that I've noticed, man, is with all this UFO stuff, and I even had Gary Wayne on the last show that I did, and he was giving his breakdown of the 4 species that they were coming out and they were disclosing. This was specifically done by Hal Puthoff, right? One of the New Age affiliates, and he's been of it for a very long time, deeply involved in Scientology. And again, these things when these people, these agents, they're going on these very big platforms. You're talking about the Diary of a CEO, right? One of the biggest podcasts that are out there in the philosophy section, in the education category on Spotify. He's number 1. And for this information to be pushed in the way it is, and real quick, the guy who was on there with Hal Puthoff, I forgot his name, but he's a documentary producer, and he's making films about disclosure and all this stuff. He was just on Danny Jones's podcast prior to that. Then before that guy was on that show, you had Andrew Puharich, the son of Audrey Puharich, that was on Danny Jones. These things are systematically timed, and they are on a schedule. Just before Andrea Puharich, you had Matt LaCroix, who is a hermeticist, right? And he is a guy who is pushing the Atlantean hidden knowledge agenda, specifically Casey's work, under the Hall of Records, all this stuff. And it all goes back to things that I think even go back further than theosophy. But really, I can point my finger and go, yeah, a lot of this is theosophy. A lot of this is Helena Blavatsky's work. And
Yes.
the idea that there are multiple different races, there are multiple root races. Humankind has gone through different evolutionary processes. And what I think is being kind of played with right now, or hinted at, because you've got things where, oh, what's her name? Eskridge or something. She was like this scientist that passed away a few years ago. Very weird way of passing away. I think she was,
Yeah.
it was self-inflicted.
Amy
She was,
Eskridge, yeah.
yes, Amy Eskridge, and she was going on podcasts talking about that these entities, or that these aliens, these species, are actually like from the future, but they're us, and it's like from the past. So it's like all these. It kind of just goes back to theosophy for me, with especially like the Lemurian root race, and then you've got the Atlantean root race. We're in the 5th root race, moving into the 6th. So I'm thinking there's a lot of self-realization and a lot of past memory regressions being played in with all of this.
Well, honestly, actually, I was floored since the first sentence you said when you started talking, where you were talking about how Putoff was on this giant philosophy podcast. I didn't know that, but that is exactly what I wanted to illustrate with this. There's going to be portions of this show where I cross the road and I start talking about New Agers or transhumanists or futurists or deceptive Christians, right? But there's a good reason for this, because there's a lot of cross-pollination. This UFO subject sits at the intersection of all these other deceptions. It's kind of a binding agent upon which they can all agree and meet and talk about and philosophize about, and through which all agendas for all sectors can be pushed using kind of any excuse of aliens. Like, aliens give us an excuse for many things. Free energy, super medicines. Maybe it reveals interdimensional beings. Aliens could be used to explain, why is that city a smoking crater suddenly? Maybe even why you're just a little bit wrong about Jesus. And so we'll see a lot of this cross-pollinate, this cross-contamination, I'll call it, in fact, throughout this UFO sector. And so I am going to have to leave aliens behind for a significant portion of this, because it all ties together in one web, right? And it's almost like a net that's surrounding us from all sides, from all different angles. Whether you're a scientist, whether you're an atheist, whether you're a New Ager or a Christian, there is something already set up to grab you about this topic. And so this isn't about any one thing specifically. I'm not going to be going in depth into any one organization or person, but rather looking at how it all entwines like a net forming around us. And so I'm so grateful. Stephen and I did not talk before the show about this. I cannot believe you mentioned Hal Putoff first, because he was literally the first person I was going to mention too. Great starting point. So thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.
I wanted to go straight into it then, and start with an institute that fits this bill, or it's called SRI, or the Stanford Research Institute. Many people have probably heard of this. They're behind the Stargate project, behind the CIA's remote viewing and astral projection projects, right? But it wasn't always like that. This is one of the few cases where I want to look at the history of an organization and give us a foothold here, okay? There are a few organizations called SRI. I don't even know if that's the correct one.
I'm not sure. I'm wondering if is this
so
it? SRI.
I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't even bother. I honestly wouldn't bother with that at this point. Let's just take a look here.
Okay.
In the 1920s, Stanford University professor Robert E. Swain proposed creating a research institute in the Western United States. Herbert Hoover, then a trustee of Stanford University, was also an early proponent of an institute, but became less involved with the project after being elected president. And, the developments of the Great Depression and World War II kind of pushed this idea on the back burner for a while. However, in 1946, the trustees of Stanford University voted to create the organization, this Western American think tank. And so they structured it to make sure that its goals aligned with the charter of the university to advance scientific knowledge and benefit the public at large, and not just the students of Stanford University. Okay, fine. No problem with that. SRI's first research project investigated whether the guayule plant could be used as a source of natural rubber. Okay. whatever. SRI's first economic study was for the United States Air Force in 1947. They wanted to ask if the expansion of U.S. aircraft production, the industry of aircraft production in the United States was worth the investment. And SRI basically said it'll take too long to scale production in case of an emergency. So they were being contacted by governments to, research things the government doesn't have time to do. In 1948, SRI would begin research in consultation with Chevron to develop an artificial substitute for tallow and coconut oil for soap production. SRI's investigation confirmed the potency of the chemicals as a substitute replacement, and later the chemical company Procter & Gamble would take these substances as the basis for Tide laundry detergent. In April of 1953, Walt and Roy Disney hired SRI, in particular Harrison Price, to consult on their proposal for establishing an amusement park in Burbank, California. They designed Disneyland for them. So what else have we got here? Douglas Engelbart, the founder of SRI's Augmentation Research Center, was the primary force behind the design and the development of most apparatuses we use on computers today. He designed the first mouse, things like this, multi-user interfaces, hypertext. So SRI was not always remote viewing and, a little bit of woo, right? They developed inkjet printing. They developed optical disc recording for the CD. They created liquid crystal display. That's the LCD monitor we're all using right now. So they've been behind a lot of impressive and powerful technologies. Funnily enough, though, the liquid crystal display was developed by RCA Laboratories in the 1960s and became Sarnoff Corporation in 1988, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of SRI. So they actually have business holdings as well. They don't just do thinking and research. But, and the last point was, in 1966, SRI developed something called Shaky the Robot, the first mobile robot to reason about its actions. Equipped with a television camera, rangefinder, and bump sensors, Shaky used software for perception, world modeling, and acting. So they've been involved in everything. Yes, Stanford Research Institute. Thank you, Dunt. However, now we get to the Vietnam War. And this is where things change. The Vietnam War was an important issue on college campuses across the United States. Part of it was the Stanford Research Institute's cooperation with the US government kind of angered the students. And so the students lobbied for it to be disconnected from the school. And it was in 1970. It split from the university in 1970 and changed its name in 1977 from Stanford Research Institute to SRI International. Okay, that's our groundwork. Now, after this split, in 1972, physicists Harold E. Puthoff and Russell Targ undertook a series of investigations of psychic phenomena sponsored by the CIA, for which they coined the term remote viewing. Among other activities, the project encompassed the work of consulting consciousness researchers, such as artist-writer Ingo Swann, military intelligence officers like Joseph McMoneagle, and psychic illusionist Uri Geller. This ESP work continued with the funding from U.S. intelligence community until Puthoff and Targ left SRI in the mid-1980s. All right, so SRI was commissioned by the Defense Intelligence Agency to come up with a reliable technique for intelligence collection purposes. And this is where they got remote viewing and astral projection from. Oh, you're muted, Stephen. Stephen, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I'm in the middle of a storm right now. It's crazy outside, dude. It's like Florida storm. Sorry, but I was just wanted to confirm this with you. Uri Geller, the Israeli-British illusionist and the magician, right?
The spoonbender, yes.
The spoonbender, dude. He was affiliated with Puharich.
Yes.
His work.
Oh, yep, okay. He's coming up. Don't worry. They're all coming up. Don't worry, boss. I got you covered.
Oh, man.
So we've got this institute that's split away now, and they've created this. Basically, they were instrumental in the CIA's Stargate program, which researched man-machine interpolation, which is like, how man and machine can interact psychically, astral projection, remote viewing. Okay. In their infamous documents, SRI's infamous document, Changing Images of Man, SRI very explicitly illustrates the power structure of a network of decentralized NGOs populated by actors with shifting, multi-tiered allegiances. So they kind of paint a picture of, if you had they're basically implying a network of NGOs with actors who cross between them, you could probably control the world, essentially, the changing images of men. You could alter how people view themselves. You could alter policy, right? You could change the world, right? And so they were very ambitious people. And so let's talk about a couple of these names then. We've got, I have a link I'll send you in the StreamYard chat here for a quick article we can take a look at. This is about Uri Geller. This is from Jerusalem Post, everyone's favorite publication, I'm sure. But I find it kind of amusing. It's Uri Geller talking about how he was shown an alien by Werner von Braun. And so this was from, I think, maybe 3 years ago. You can scroll down. There's nothing disgusting on it. There is a photograph of an alien, but there's no parts on the alien, if you understand what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
So yeah, Uri Geller, here we are. So it's, he's sharing these photos. He's telling people he's seen the aliens. He makes bold claims stating Putin will use nuclear weapons and those will be stopped by aliens, right? So he's still going at this after so many years. He's a very interesting guy to take a look at. He's made a lot of crazy claims. And he was part of this SRI. He was contacted actually by Andrzej Putarek, which you mentioned. Andrzej Putarek, his real name is Henry Carroll Putarek. I don't know why he had to change his name, but anyway, he was a medical and parapsychological researcher, medical inventor, physician, and author, known as the same person who brought Israeli Uri Geller and Dutch-born Peter Hurkos to the United States for scientific investigation. That's another, Peter Hurkos is another of these psychics that SRI basically said, let us observe you under controlled circumstances and see how your psychic powers stack up, right? That was just, sorry, I just wanted to illustrate that Yuri loves him some aliens, right? Yes. They all do. So
I was just reading the X post about it.
Yeah. We have another one of these individuals here is Russell Targ, another one of these SRI guys. He was the one who started it with Puthoff. I put an Amazon link in there for a book by Targ. And I just wanted to take a quick look at the front cover of it, if that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, got it right here.
Sorry, it's going to be a lot of links.
I love it.
Just grab the front, just like click on the book itself, and it'll zoom it in for you. Just click on it once, and it will. Yeah, there we go. So it's The End of Suffering by Russell Targ and J.J. Hurtak. If you remember the last show I did with you, J.J. Hurtak is one of those New Agers associated with Barbara Marx Hubbard. And if you look at the bottom there, it says forward by Professor Ashok Gagnadine. He is another Barbara Marx Hubbard fellow. So we've got two New Agers and Russell Targ writing about how to end suffering. Sure. Okay. All right. Whatever, guys. We've got a couple other things here. There was another gentleman, Ingo Swann, who was there. He was the painter and author. I put another Amazon link for one of his books for you. I saw this and I was appalled by, I didn't know Ingo Swann was involved in this until someone told me that the drawing on the front of this book is a painting of his. So on this one, if you go to so we've got Mind Reach, Scientists Look at Psychic Ability by Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff, with an introduction by Margaret Mead. Margaret Mead is one of Barbara Marx Hubbard's best friends. Are you starting to see a pattern here, folks?
Yes.
Okay, so that was just
I mean, do you see? This is like Orphic egg symbolism for me.
Right, but it's cracking open to reveal something bigger on the inside, like the realm of the spirit is larger than the body in which it resides, right? Some kind of theosophy, I'm sure. The last of these individuals I wanted to take a quick look at was, sorry, I messed my notes up a bit here. Right, Puthoff. Did I copy that picture for you? Sorry, everyone, I've got about 8 different piles of things to show Stephen here.
Oh, you're good. No worries. Take your time.
This one is from docs.house.gov. Okay. And this is a list of all of the times the US government has basically noted someone doing something with UFOs. It's actually an exceptionally useful document. There are thousands of things in here that there is not enough time. This is the testimony by Michael Schellenberger to the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology. Sorry, scrolled up. But in here, if you type in Control F, or how you do it on Mac. Sorry, I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea. You're talking to a boomer on a Mac here.
All right.
I have no
Well,
idea.
if you were able to, I would ask you to search for, maybe if you right click, can you search? Let's say search.
Right click. No, I don't see any search here.
3 dots. No. Okay. Well, that's all right. Anyway, if you could, I would tell you to click search and type in the word chicken. And you'd say, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it turns out, I'll pull up the document for myself real quick here.
Yeah.
And I'll do it myself here. So it says here, summer of 1985, Hal Puthoff, former head of the Army and DIA remote viewing programs, gives 2 weeks notice and leaves SRI International to work for Bill Church at Jupiter Technologies to explore alternative fuel sources. Bill Church, the CEO of Church's Fried Chicken, claims he had a dream of a saucer landing before he funded the company Jupiter Technologies. Jupiter scientist Ken Shoulders claims exotic vacuum objects studied at Jupiter could be a source of alternative energy. It's kind of weird when you see Church's Fried Chicken throw itself in the mix. I just had to point that out to people.
Yeah.
I may not buy food from there anymore. We'll see. Just a thought. So that document is, again, publicly available. I can put it in the chat for everyone. I need to go to YouTube first, though. Sorry, everyone. Oh, of course, the computer's loaded.
What page is that on?
It is on page. That's a good question. Where is it? I just had it. Sorry, I'm so scatterbrained right now because I've been doing this all day. It is on page 96.
Okay.
And it's second from the bottom. Summer 1985. Right at the bottom of the page. There you go. Second bottom one. There you go. Summer 1985. Hal Puthoff, former head of DIA. And this is from house.gov. This isn't just from like alexjones.com or whatever, right? So I just thought that was an interesting. So apparently Church's Fried Chicken is looking for alternative energy sources because saucers told the guy to or something. I don't know. Whatever.
That's wild.
Let's move along anyway, right? Because it doesn't end with these people. The last person I wanted to show was a gentleman by the name of Richard Allen Miller. He was also associated with SRI. This is a video from a fairly famous conspiracy channel called Leak Project, run by a gentleman called Rex Bear. Okay. I cannot recommend him. I do not recommend him. But he has Dr. Richard Allen Miller on to talk about the real secret space program to Mars. And I would like to listen to the first 2.5 minutes of it, if that's okay. Maybe if he's doing an intro, we can skip it. Let's just take a look.
Let's see here. That looks like an intro.
There we go. Okay, that's the one
right there.
Yeah. Share this video. You change you want to see?
That again. What did you do? I just
1983.
Okay.
I took 12 NASA scientists to Mars. Literally, we never made it to the surface. We were down, in the underground caverns. But I did that in 1983. That's why they're training now Saturn I project, because that has exactly the same geometry. And they want to know where that wormhole goes. I'm not kidding.
So did you know that May 22nd, 1984, there's actually a CIA file. It's where somebody did a remote viewing on several regions in Mars. And the first region they had them go to was what we call Cydonia, where there's the pyramids and the face. And
yeah, well, here's the bad news. This,
so you did a year
what
before.
I'm doing is not remote viewing or astral projection.
Okay.
That's connected to the physical body, which is still part of your dream. Okay? And you're inside or outside the magic circle with an astral cord. Inside it, it's astral projection. Outside it is remote viewing. And remote viewing is very...
So he just said, when you're standing inside the magical circle, it's astral projection. When you're outside it, it's remote viewing. Or I might have got that backwards. What does a magical circle have to do? Doesn't that sound a bit strange?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he's an older man. He's not in his prime. He's, but his entire life has been filled with stuff like this. He was at SRI. He started something called the Human Potential Institute or something, trying to basically make man better, vaguely reminiscent of root race theory, right? Like, let's
Right.
evolve to the next stage of human evolution kind of thing. Mr. Miller is not a good teacher either, right? None of these people are. These people are all, something's going on here, right? Like, this SRI thing's a bit odd, isn't it? To close it out, are you familiar with Urantia, the
Yes.
book?
Yes.
Give your audience a little bit, because I'm less, and you'll be able to give them something.
Well, Urantia, it's almost like this perspective of how Earth was created, right? It's like this whole kind of process of the formulation of Earth. The goddess is a part of it. I haven't gone through the book myself, but I've listened to a bunch of psionic assets basically advocating for the Urantia book. One of these guys is, I'll see if I can pull up a video of him, but he was on a podcast talking about how he's read the Urantia book from a very young age, and that out of all of the different books that he claimed to be esoteric, even the Bible, according to his claims, was one of his books. He claims that the Urantia book is like this Bible to them. And again, this guy is a part of a team that is ushering, controlling, summoning, UFOs, or is at least a part of participating in that activity with UFOs. He even on this podcast was making connections that he's had experiences with the lady, and the conversation got brought right into Chris Bledsoe's experience with the lady, and that pretty much the lady downloads herself into him and has taught him how to disassociate from his consciousness. It's like so weird, man. It's almost like how your left hand works differently from your right. So that's where he was getting at, where his mind was splitting in some sort of way.
Wow, it sounds almost like a spiritual schizophrenia, almost.
Yes. Yeah.
Very interesting. So Urantia is published by Origin Press, and it's a company owned by a man named Byron Belitsos. And he's basically behind most of modern pushing of Urantia. He actually comments in 2 of his different books, shortly and vaguely regarding SRI. And in Weapons of Mass Coercion, he says, quote, "A Yale-educated attorney initiated a process for a proposed high-level research project. Peter Bergen, the Pentagon, had a stake in this project too. He said the Pentagon's SRI liaison got right to the point. The project had to end. Bergen says the project was a cover-up, and now the U.S. faces a new threat." And in his Byron Belitsos' other book, The Covert War from Within, I have copied the same quote twice because I am a fool. That's embarrassing. I apologize. Give me 2 seconds, and I will just see if I can really quickly find that for you. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, he talks about Byron Belitsos of Urantia has a very vested interest, it seems, in SRI and why it closed. Just seems a bit weird for the New Age to be so dug into this UFO topic, right? The last person out of SRI I want to talk about, this is a big one, and we're going to go a long way on this, okay? A man named Willis Harman. I'm going to put a link in the chat for you here. And it's titled, why was a theosophist teaching Christians? And we're talking about, it says, why was a theosophist teaching Christians about the future? Okay. And so I'd like to read a little bit from this, and if you just want to pull it up here. It says, in the book, An Evangelical Agenda, 1984 and Beyond, we learned that the 1979 consultation's purpose was to enlarge the vision of God's people and enable them to have a still more effective stewardship of time and opportunity in these critical days, according to Hudson T. Amerding, chairman, in his foreword. This consultation represents the first of the publicly disclosed occasions where the evangelicals and New Agers met together to address common ground. It is possible that this event marked the beginning of the public phase of the integration of theosophy with Christianity, but it may have been going on before this. Indeed, it seems so when one reads the proposals made by Willis Harman to integrate the psychic into Christianity to create a new synthesized truth. The preface indicates that an earlier 1977 consultation included 84 participants, and a book of proceedings was published out of this event entitled Evangelicals Face the Future, edited by Donald E. Hoke and published by the William Carey Library for the Billy Graham Center. The preface lists more names of evangelical leaders who helped to organize the 1979 event. Dr. Tom Sine performed the very key role of facilitating the breakout study groups as they worked to write the scenarios presented. It is interesting that Dr. Tom Sine is commended for role as facilitator for this consultation. Constance Cumby warned us about Sine's New Age activities and beliefs in this same era in her 1985 book titled A Planned Deception, The Staging of a New Age Messiah. In a lengthy challenge to Sine's claims to be an evangelical Christian, she, Constance Cumby, concludes by noting that Sine was associated closely with Willis Harman, the theosophist who worked at SRI. Since Sine says he is also a member of the World Future Society and is on a first-name basis with multiple people from there, like William Harman, Hazel Henderson, and other New Agers of distinction, and with his books advocating their programs, the author of this article says, I fail to see just how he can plead innocence with a straight face.
Wow.
Continuing, I'll bring you a second article here from the Evangelical Times. We're continuing on Willis Harman now, because he is he is what came out of SRI and cross-contaminated Christianity, essentially. So
I'm telling you, man, Christianity's getting hijacked, dude.
It's being bitten away at death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Yeah.
Scroll down a bit. So this article here, it says, at a key juncture, Willis Harman, a leading theosophist at SRI, would positively impact evangelical Christian leaders during a series of consultations on the future, sponsored by the Billy Graham Association in the late 1970s. It was at these two consultations that evangelical leaders heard about alternative future scenarios in which Jesus was not coming back to earth immediately. These churchmen were encouraged to envision new future scenarios in which mankind could perfect the earth and, in fact, himself via science and philosophy, social change, and global mind change. Global Mind Change was also the title of a Willis Harman book. So I'll bring you a third link now. This is from a gentleman who writes under the name of Schwabstack at substack.com. He likes to expose Schwab, Klaus. The Klaus is the bugs. You will eat the bugs. But along the way, he noticed what I noticed. He noticed these New Agers around the edge. This is a massive article, and we're not going to go through this. Note how he starts off with a quote from Michael Aquino's Psyop to Mind War, because Aquino will come up later as a part of this. This author at Schwabstack I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm saying he's noticed a lot of good things. Okay. So further down in this article, he's talking about a different scientist who had created a sort of a network of optimists. And when he died, this was essentially inherited by Oliver Reiser, this gentleman right here. He called, right there. If you scroll up slightly, just like one or two, there we go. From the 1930s onwards, a philosophy professor named Oliver Reiser wrote a number of books and articles where he described how humanity would evolve into an interconnected collective organism he called the world sensorium, a hive mind, one brain, right? A collective organism into which all mankind would be converged through technology. The idea related to H.G. Wells' World Brain, as well as Jesuit priest and evolutionary scholar Pierre Teilhard de Chardin's Noosphere, which I know you're familiar with, from his work on The Future of Mankind, right? He also goes into how Julian Huxley also desired the same thing. Further down, so he says, after Reiser's death, the network he had created was inherited by Irvin Laszlo. If you watched the last show, you'll remember Irvin Laszlo was Barbara Marx Hubbard's right-hand man in creating most of her New Age organizations, shifting people around. He was the one who wrote The Limits to Growth for the Club of Rome, and was so disgusted by the Malthusian outcome of it. Basically, when the Club of Rome's report came out, you can find Irvin Laszlo's name in one of the portions of that report. He said, no, we can't eliminate 90% of people. This is ridiculous. I'm going to go start the Club of Budapest, and we're going to get rid of only 25% of people. You all remember last show.
Wow.
So after Reiser's death, the network he created was inherited by Irvin Laszlo. Okay. So Laszlo describes an assemblage of NGOs promoting sustainable development while using the internet. Haven't we heard this already? Wasn't that SRI's changing images of man? They talked about a network of NGOs with people crossing between them, and they would use it to basically change the image of man. That idea for SRI came from Irvin Laszlo in his original book, The Consciousness Revolution.
Does that have anything to do with the United Nations SDGs and their goals, like this year, the Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes and no. Like, we do remember that Barbara Marx Hubbard was contacted by, all these people have, Laszlo has been contacted and consulted to the UN. So yes, I would say so. I would say that they have a large percentage of it. And that will come up later with a different one of these people. They display that logo on their website proudly as they support it, while telling you that they'll tell you the truth about aliens coming. It's a very messy area of the internet, UFOs. So I want to get back to it, because this is the tangent I was talking about, where we're going to talk about Billy Graham, we're going to talk about some New Agers, but I promise there's a good point to this, okay? So let me go back to where I was here. So Laszlo describes an assemblage of NGOs promoting sustainable development using the internet. Laszlo calls the new coming man the emergent man, or he calls it, the book is called Emergent Man, His Chances, Problems, and Potentials. And it contains the writings of Oliver Reiser, Willis Harman of Stargate and SRI that we talked about, right? Gardner Murphy, former member of the Committee for National Morale and OSS Psychological Warfare Specialist. Lovely people. And Abraham Maslow, of course. I'm sure that name will ring a bell with a few people. So one of these gentlemen, a Julius Stolman, describes the executive function of the world organism, which will be served by commodity exchanges, which he depicts as being located in Jerusalem. Advances, he says, quote, advances could be handled by the computerized ability of commodity exchange operating through Jerusalem. I don't know why I expected anything different. It all always traces back there, doesn't it? And Reiser, in his description of the psychosphere, or T.L. Desjardins' noosphere, says that he basically uses the phrase emergent man, cosmic evolution, right? And it turns out these people aren't who they say they are, basically. The guy who we just heard, this Reisman guy, he is allegedly a lumber salesman. Like, a lot of these, like, it's like the church's fried chicken guy all over again, right? Like, they have their main job, and then they get their fingers in this pie over here of the unknown. I don't like it. It weirds me out. I wanted to continue on with Harman because I'm not done with him quite yet. This one here is interesting because it starts off as an anti-Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez article, but it is relevant to us here and now. Further down in the article, past the AOC part, you just have to get rid of the get rid of a Patreon part. Merci. Yeah, so it starts off as an AOC article. Further down, he starts talking about Marilyn Ferguson, the New Age writer. I believe it was Age of Aquarius. Was that her?
Where are we at? Sorry.
Oh, if you type in Ferguson. You can't do the search. I forgot. Right. Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Shoot. No. Of course not, bro. Of course not.
Big
But
oil.
Yeah, I've got the quote. I don't have the exact location.
Jeez, look at the headlines on this article, dude.
Yes, and it all that's the problem with this is it is a web. You can tie people from the New Age to the UFOs, and then to the evangelicals, and to Billy Graham, and then back to psychic warfare and all this. It's very ridiculous. It's like a network of NGOs and people. Yes, yes, John Ruskin, the revolting human being that he was. Anyway, further down in this article, he talks about Marilyn Ferguson, the New Age writer. There we go. Probably further down. Yeah, he talks about Annie Besant, Nicholas Roerich. Further down, Aldous Huxley, Andrea Putarik.
Wow.
Yeah, anyway, this is a long article. I'll just read this quick quote. Marilyn Ferguson, as a protege of Willis Harman, like he was her teacher, essentially, and director of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, named after the concept of the noosphere from Desjardins again, right? We all have heard of noetics, the science of the supernatural, right? These are the people who, when someone's dying and they want to contribute to noetic science, they allow them to seal them in a airtight coffin, essentially, when they die, and then they weigh them to see if the soul has a weight or if an electrical discharge can be detected leaving the body. Things like this. They try to take science and apply it to the supernatural. That's what noetic sciences means, right? It's the study of the noosphere, of the Jesuit concept of a world brain, or a human hive mind, or as some people like to call it, the Akashic records, right? These kind of things. And so Willis Harman, funnily enough, is actually responsible for also responsible for conducting some of the MK Ultra experiments on behalf of the CIA. So that's always a lovely thing to hear about someone, isn't it? The Institute for Noetic Sciences, real quickly, was founded in 1973 by Edgar Mitchell, the sixth astronaut to walk on the moon, who claimed to have undergone a cosmic consciousness experience on his return flight to Earth. Mitchell founded IONS to encourage and conduct research on human potential. There it is again, isn't it? Human potential. The Institute of Noetic Sciences played a central role in Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol about Freemasonry, a show you might now be familiar with. Anyway, so Edgar Mitchell established the Institute of Noetic Sciences together with ex-Nazi and NASA rocket scientist Wernher von Braun, who some might be familiar with, I'm sure, and billionaire investor Paul Nathaniel Temple Jr., the former Standard Oil executive and chairman emeritus. Temple was a major funder of IONS and the Verides, the fellowship, through which the Three Swallows Foundation came out. The fellowship, I'm sure many of your listeners are aware, is a secretive Christian group who are responsible for the birth of the National Prayer Breakfast. And they're also known as the family. That's why it's called the family or the fellowship, right? Are you familiar with any of this?
No.
Oh, you should have John on to talk about family, because the family and the fellowship, he's got much more, but they are, they're basically noetic scientists who are posing as Christians and influencing the White House. So
I find it interesting here, in part of the Noetic Sciences says the Club of Rome helps coordinate an international network of environmental agencies whose ultimate purpose is to use the movement to promote New Age ideas as the worship of Mother Nature.
And there's Marilyn Ferguson right after. See, Marilyn Ferguson, author of The Aquarian Conspiracy. That's the author I was talking about, who's the protege of Willis Harman. So we've got a lot of intertwining here. A lot of these figures seem to all nest together quite well, don't they? And they seem to have their fingers in all the pies. It's important to note when we talk about the family and the fellowship and the National Prayer Breakfast, that group also included people like Henry Ford, the car manufacturer, Billy Graham, Norman Vincent Peale, Donald Trump's mentor. Just little notes, little things I noted as I was looking at this, how this all ties together. I have one last little bit here about Billy Graham, and then we're going to leave him behind. This is about Billy Graham choosing his ideological successor, a man titled America's Pastor, Rick Warren. Okay? So this is just essentially the proof that Billy Graham had assigned Rick Warren as, you know.
Wow.
So,
You know, Billy Graham too, there's so much about him where his theology started to change, bro. Like it started to get so new agey in the sense of where he was basically when he was on his way out, right? He was claiming that anyone can
be
get
saved.
into heaven.
yes. I almost
Anyone
put that
can
clip.
be
I
saved.
can still get that clip. Do you want that clip? Billy Graham denies Christ.
Yes,
I'll get
we
it
need
right
to play
now.
that. That's
Okay.
super important.
Dude, I'm getting it right here. I have it right now. Billy Graham denies Christ.
I mean, that's huge, man.
Here we go.
He's saying that
play that.
everyone that has their own perspective of God, that is their relationship with God in some sort of way, they're saved because they have that relationship. And it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, dude.
Yeah. I put it, it's the YouTube link at the bottom of the chat for you. We can play that, and that's the perfect place to sign off with Graham. Take a quick look at Rick Warren, and I promise we're going to get back to the aliens soon, folks.
Yes, the aliens.
Yes, the aliens, they're waiting for you. Don't worry.
Tell me, what do you think is the future of Christianity?
Well, Christianity and being a true believer, you know, I think there's the body of Christ, which comes from all the Christian groups around the world or outside the Christian groups. I think everybody that loves Christ or knows Christ, whether they're conscious of it or not, they're members of the body of Christ. And I don't think that we're going to see a great sweeping revival that will turn the whole world to Christ at any time. I think James answered that, Apostle James, in the first council in Jerusalem, when he said that God's purpose for this age is to call out a people for his name. And that's what God is doing today. He's calling people out of the world for his name, whether they come from the Muslim world or the Buddhist world or Christian world or the non-believing world. They are members of the body of Christ because they've been called by God. They may not even know the name of Jesus, but they know in their heart that they need something that they don't have, and they turn to the only light that they have. And I think that they are saved and that they're going to be with us in heaven.
Wow, bro.
Yeah. Poor Billy
Wow.
Graham. He spent too much time with Willis Harmon, methinks, and the rest of these goofs.
I don't think he mentioned Jesus once in there, by the way.
No, and he mentioned
when-
Christians third after Muslims and Buddhists.
Yeah, yes,
Interesting,
dude.
eh?
And this is the scary thing too, man, is that people are using they're using Christ in the way that the New Age uses it, where it's kind of personified as this office
Yes.
that these multiple Christs come and occupy throughout time. And it's
Yes.
and it's wicked, bro. Like
it is. It's
I'm
heresy.
almost testing people where it's like, hey, what do you believe in? Oh, you know, Christ is king. Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Like, do you believe in Jesus?
Yeah.
Right? It's starting to come down to that, man. At least
is.
from what I feel.
And there's another example of that coming up pretty quickly here. I put a link. So that was the end of the Billy Graham saga, the Billy Graham sidetrack. I apologize, everyone, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was important. I wanted to cover some Christian content. I just don't want to get up here and just talk about aliens. I'm not a fan of that subject, but I am a fan of seeing through these people's masks. So this was an interesting article. This person is, again, ragging, criticizing Rick Warren correctly, remembering Rick Warren was Billy Graham's chosen replacement. In this, we'll find a quote here. This is the author talking about Rick Warren. He says, "Sadly, Rick Warren seems to be completely unaware of the overlapping implications of his 5-step peace plan and the 5-step peace plan proposed by Neil Donald Walsh and his New Age God. Neil Donald Walsh is another Barbara Marx Hubbard friend, one of her best. Another of these New Age Barbara Marx Hubbardian optimists, in a way, right? Remembering it was the battle between optimism and pessimism that highlighted the conflict between the World Future Society and the World Economic Forum. One said depopulate 90% of mankind because we can't go on. The other said, nah, we just get rid of 25% who won't cooperate. That's fine, right? And so it's this duality, it's carrot and stick, right? And I think to a large degree, I think Klaus and the World Economic Forum and the Club of Rome and all this and Eat the Bugs, that exists as a stick to scare you into running over to the carrot. That's how this works. So, sadly, Rick Warren seems to be completely unaware of the overlapping implications of his 5-step peace plan and the 5-step peace plan proposed by Neil Donald Walsh and his New Age God. Both of their peace plans use the word peace as an acronym. Both of the peace plans proclaim they will change the world and change history. Both of them describe themselves as God's plan and emphatically declare that God is in fact in the process of bringing peace to the world. Both of these plans call for a new reformation, not only of the world, but of the church, a new reformation that, with a few deceptive twists and turns, could be overseen by a master Jesus, who is not the real Jesus Christ, a master Jesus who teaches that we are all divine God because God is in everything. Persecution through the selection process. Similar to what Barbara Marx Hubbard said. Remember, she said, God selects and we destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Persecution through the selection process. Those who will not choose to agree are opting for door B, which is annihilation, according to these people.
Yeah, and it's almost like what this guy here says too. His name's Sadhguru. And he's like, this got a whole video here. The problem is population.
Yes, so he would be a stick. He would be a Malthusian, right? Someone who is negative about the future, who thinks things are so bad we have to get rid of most of the people or it'll never get better. A pessimist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sadhguru is a pessimist, and he said some very vile things. I didn't think to include him in this. He said some vile things. We could do a show on him someday, but
yeah,
let's quickly. I just want to talk about Warren, because we're not done with Warren. I put another link, letusreason.org. In this article, we read, Warren is listed on the national board of Ken Blanchard's Lead Like Jesus organization. In 2003, Warren approved Ken Blanchard as someone who could train Christian leaders. He has asked him to be a part of his peace plan. Ken Blanchard is the founder of Ken Blanchard Companies and the author of The 1 Minute Manager. Ken Blanchard, a professing Christian that endorses the New Age, mystics, and is a promoter of New Age concepts. He's a board member of the Hoffman Institute. Bob Hoffman's a psychic. The Quadrinity process is a type of self-realization course he offers. Very, it's all word salad mumbo jumbo. I apologize. But it shows, at the very least, a lack of spiritual discernment on Rick Warren's part here, right? Especially with the kind of things Blanchard endorses. So at the 3rd annual Choices for the Future Symposium in Aspen, 1988, Ken Blanchard was on the platform with Barbara Marx Hubbard, the key promoter of the New Age movement who openly opposes Christianity. Okay, so more interlocking here. So Rick Warren is sort of tainted by Ken Blanchard, who's kind of tainted by Barbara Marx Hubbard, right? It goes through stages of people here. Blanchard writes, I look for inspirational messages from a variety of sources besides Jesus. Our folks get to hear words of wisdom from great prophets and spiritual leaders like Buddha, Muhammad, Yogananda, and the Dalai Lama. Buddha points to the path and invites us to begin our journey to enlightenment. I, Ken Blanchard, invite you to begin your journey to enlightened work. Okay, and that was in the book titled, What Would Buddha Do at Work?
Wow.
Blanchard has also endorsed Jack Canfield's New Age teaching books. So Jack Canfield is another of the Barbara Marx Hubbard New Agers. Okay, fine. Warren also endorses Leonard Sweet, considered a church historian and futurist who is involved in the emerging church movement. Sweet writes words and phrases that only a few can understand. He promotes interspirituality, quoting New Age theorists. In his book, Quantum Spirituality, he proposes an emergent of a new light apologetic in defense of a new way of doing things. He appears to be quoting various New Agers favorably, such as Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, Marilyn Ferguson, David Spangler, who teaches that Christ is the same force as Lucifer. Matthew Fox, who wrote the book The Cosmic Christ, where he speaks of the Christ consciousness. Okay. So we're seeing interesting here. So I wanted to go quickly and talk to talk about Constance Cumby. Now, I want to thank everyone in the comments who told me that she'd passed away. God bless her. Thank you, Constance, for everything you gave us, because all of this is in no small part thanks to what she left us, and few people listened to her, right? She got kind of pushed off to the side. Like, you know, she wasn't a regular Alex Jones guest in the time when it mattered, right? In the 2005s to 2012s, when conspiracy was rising up, right? She kind of was pushed back in a time when conspiracy was surging, almost like she was held down or held back away from it, right? She's a great woman. God rest her soul. God bless you. Thank you, Constance. And so I wanted to link two things real quick. The first of her articles here is titled "The Gold Lake Secrecy Pact Discovered in Conversations with Doug Coe's Secretary and Art Lindsley." And Art Lindsley is of the spiritual. That sounds surprising.
It's been suspended.
Go figure. Go figure.
Interesting.
Well, anyway, so unfortunate. Thank you again, but God bless you, Constance. I will get that back somehow. I think I've archived it. I know I archived it. So anyway, all right, fine.
Wow.
So the title of that article was "Gold Lake Secrecy Pact Discovered in Conversations with Doug Coe's Secretary and Art Lindsley." Okay. So in another article she wrote, then, is this gonna be canceled too? We'll take a look. Cumby Blogspot.
No, I got it. Okay,
good. Yeah. So here she talks really quickly about a few things. She's talking about how they tried to co-opt her at one point.
Yes.
So she says, this is Constance Cumby speaking in her blog. She says, quote, "I've even recommended Ron Enroth's books on abusive churches, but Ron Enroth was clearly teamed up with the entire crowd trying to stifle my work. He was present at El Toro, California, when the EMNR, I don't know what that means because I haven't looked it up yet, but the EMNR crowd invited me to present my proofs. Sylvia Beetleston was present in the audience, sitting next to Walter Martin, when Ron Enroth ran up and said, 'Tom Sine called me today.'" Do we remember Tom Sine, everyone? He was the New Ager we spoke about earlier. "Tom Sine called me today," he said. "Someone from the Billy Graham organization called him, and they want to do a national television show warning about Constance Cumby and her book, The Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow." So Billy Graham and Tom Sine wanted to do a show about how Constance Cumby is bad and warn people about her. Okay. Wow. So the quote continues. This is Ron Enroth talking to Walter Martin. He says he wants to get Hal Lindsey and several others involved. Walter Martin replies, "Great, let's get on that immediately." He then pats Sylvia on the shoulder and says, "Don't you think that's a good idea?" At that point, Sylvia stands up and anyway, what happens? She basically walks away and they ask, well, what was that about? And the guy tells one guy tells the other guy, "She's Constance Cumby's best friend." And you kind of just told on us in front of her. So that's how we know some of this is going on. There's a lot of dirty dealings, a lot of backstabbing, and a lot of suppression going on here, right? So I think she was a good person. I am convinced that she was on the right track. God bless you.
Oh, yes.
So
absolutely.
I would like to get one last quote in here on Rick Warren, and I am going back into aliens for you. Don't worry.
Nice.
So this is Rick Warren's small group conference. And it says, Rick Warren's small group conference speaker says, "We will lead people to Christ consciousness." There it is again, huh? Christ consciousness.
That's what it's all about, man.
So again, we don't need to read the whole article. All of these will be available. Like I can provide these links if people post a comment after the video's over. I can give you the link maybe, if YouTube will even let me post links. I'll do what I can to give any information anyone wants, any of these links, anything. I'm not in the YouTube chat right now because I am fully, my whole screen is covered in all of this and I need to keep it organized. I'm so sorry, everyone. I normally try to chat with chat. I love you. I'm sorry. God bless you all for being so patient here.
No, this is great, man.
I have a quick picture. Actually, this is the first of our pickies I wanted to share with you.
Wow, it says here, divinity is found in all creatures. The cosmic Christ is the I am in every creature.
Yeah. And look, someone with Leonard Sweet again, Matthew Fox. See, it's all the same names. It's just all the same names all day, every day. And I'm sorry that that's all the show is going to be, is just the same names all day. But that's what this is. Isn't that the definition of a conspiracy?
Yes.
Just saying, people. So let's continue on. So I've got a picky here somewhere. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Can I put it in Discord for you, my good man? This one. There you go. It'll be just below me saying I'm here on the show.
Gotcha.
So this was book reviews for a book by Rick Warren. Oh no, sorry, no. Just pull it up and you'll see. So I'll read these quotes for you here. So it says, Christ consciousness and Christ abilities are the natural inheritance of every human being on earth. When the word of this hope has reached the nations, the end of this phase of evolution shall come. All will know their choice. All will be required to choose. And all who choose not to evolve will die off. Barbara Marx Hubbard. The next quote. If your church has been plateaued for 6 months, it might take 6 months to get it going again. If it's been plateaued a year, it might take a year. If it's been 20, you've got to set in for a duration. I'm saying some people are going to have to die or leave. Moses had to wander around the desert for 40 years while God killed off 1 million people before he let them go to the promised land. That may be brutally blunt, but it's true. There may be people in your church who love God sincerely, but who will never, ever change. Rick Warren.
Wow.
Below that, Mr. Leonard Sweet. Reinvent yourself for the 21st century or die. Some would rather die than change. And the last quote, the simplest of them all, is from Eckhart Tolle, the New Age writer and World Future Society member, friend of Barbara Marx Hubbard. Evolve or die.
Oh
That's
my
what these people
gosh.
say. They don't care. They say it. They're not concerned about suffering the consequences of this speech. They don't think anyone will listen. They don't think people read. They don't think people care. Right? I had one more. This is a bit of a side note here. This was just a terrible pastor I found while looking at this kind of pastor here. This what's his name? Todd M. Johnson. This is the kind of pastor we get from this kind of thinking. All right, Pastor Todd M. Johnson. My Journey into the Future, a personal essay by Todd M. Johnson, from the Center for the Study of Global Christianity. He's co-author of the World Christian Encyclopedia. He's the director of World Evangelization Research Center in Richmond, Virginia, served with Youth with a Mission, co-founder of the Christian Futures Network, and a professional member of the World Future Society.
Wow.
So we're getting...
This is a pastor.
Yeah. So that's the kind of result that we have got ourselves into at this point. Now, I want to go back just a second. Remember when Rick Warren was talking about Christ consciousness? We can get back into our unidentified flying objects now. Let's talk about a gentleman by the name of Daniel Sheehan. I brought him up on the last show. Danny Sheehan. He talks a lot about aliens and alien visitation. He served as the counsel for Harvard University he served as counsel for Harvard University psychiatrist John E. Mack, as well as served as counsel for Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project. He's kind of a UFO lawyer in a way. He's kind of a woo-woo lawyer. He represents Lou Elizondo, the former director of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification, also known as ATIP, that you may have heard of. Lou Elizondo is one of the primary UFO grifters in our time, right? And so Danny Sheehan is his legal counsel. He's not just, there you go, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Everybody knows Lou. I don't have much to say about Lou because I haven't looked into him yet. Give me time to look into him, and I'm sure
I'll tell you
plenty.
this: him and Timothy Alberino are like this, bro.
Well,
They're
there
like,
you go.
They're like the duality, man.
Alberino was one of the pastors pushing the recent "We Got a Secret Meeting with Representative Burchett," right? Wasn't he?
Dude, Alberino is pushing the Book of Enoch. Alberino is pushing Sidonia. Alberino is pushing the fact that these are extraterrestrial civilizations. And Alberino is going next week to do a conference with Lou Elizondo. And my buddy is going to attend it, and he's gonna take notes. I told him I need you to be an informant for me.
Praise the Lord for footwork and people going out and going to these meetings and seeing what's happening. Because
real quick, like this isn't me. I've tried to get Timothy Alberino on the show constantly, and the guy just turns his back on me. For what reason? I don't know. Even if we have maybe some disagreements, I'm not going to like have a fallout with the guy on a show. But the thing is I think there's some things that need to be addressed about his beliefs and who he's working with and the network that he's a part of. Kind of spurred almost out of nowhere, right? He was this guy who was covering Nephilim giants, working with Judd Burton and these guys that were making, L.A. Marzulli, these guys making DVDs for years, right? On Nephilim giants and whatever. He goes and he lives in Peru for so many years, right? Supposedly lived right around the corner from an ayahuasca medical treatment facility. Whatever.
Lovely.
I don't know what he got involved in. I don't know what he did that all of a sudden made him go down the avenue that he's going down. I just have some simple questions, and he will not give me the time of day. He's fought with me out of the most, and I'm sorry to like just sidetrack here, but he's fought with me for no reason on X. And I get that X can be like a little bit of a style of Discordianism where definitely the worst comes out of people on Twitter.
Yes,
I totally understand that. It's like something behind it, and I get that. But listen, I don't know why you can't come on, have a conversation. You've been on channels, at the same, they have the same audience as me. It's there's no reason for him to not come on my show to try and talk to a Christian audience about his beliefs if he doesn't know that I know that he knows that I know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like one of those things. And I'm like, okay, man, that's fine. Go ahead. Go about your business. That's okay. Like the truth's going to come out at some point.
It absolutely will. We got a question in the chat really quickly. Rebels for Jesus Christ was asking, what's Sidonia? Now, I'm not sure whether you meant Sidonia, the region of Mars, or Sedona, Arizona, the New Age hotspot, because you were talking about what Alberino talks about, right? Just a moment ago.
I'm sorry. What was that? Where's the question at? I'm trying to look for it.
It was further up.
Sidonia. Yeah, Sidonia is those faces that are on Mars. Let me show you where Sidonia is.
Yes, Sidonia, Cydonia. And then they didn't know if you meant Sedona, the New Age city.
Okay.
Sedona, yeah, I think it's Arizona. I don't know.
Right. That's kind of funny. It's a New Age city. That's wild. Check this out, man. This is a map here that is a New Age map. This is a New Age playbook.
Yes.
And everything that they talk about on this map is part of the plan.
Yes.
And what do we have right here? Sidonia.
Pyramids
Mars,
the pyramids on Mars. Yes.
I mean, the video you shared earlier is a part of this program right here.
Yes.
SSP whistleblowers.
Yes.
Secret space programs. They were going to Mars. They were going to the moon. They were going.
Right.
This is a New Age agenda.
And part of it is, remember, the human potential. That was the guy who said I took the astronauts to Mars or whatever. He's part of the human potential movement. That's what they're like. They're basically saying humans can evolve to have superpowers. That's essentially what lies behind and underneath all of this. And that's what Theosophy meant by the next root race, was essentially everybody's going to be the X-Men or whatever, like a cartoon, like a silly cartoon, right? But I really wanted to, because I was losing track of this really quickly here. So Rick Warren is a proponent of Christ consciousness. And I was talking about Daniel Sheehan, the UFO lawyer. He has been involved in a lot of conspiracy things. It says here, Sheehan has participated in numerous legal cases of public interest, including the Pentagon Papers case with Ellis. Do you remember that? The Pentagon Papers lawsuit?
I think I don't recall it now.
Okay. The Watergate break-in case. I'm sure we remember Watergate.
Okay. Yes.
The Silkwood case. That one I'm not familiar with. The Greensboro massacre case. And the La Pencha bombing case. So he's basically a conspiracy lawyer, a UFO lawyer. He kind of gets his fingers in everything. But this is the key thing. He created something. Well, first of all, he admits he was the legal counsel for the Jesuit National Headquarters in Washington, D.C. So you don't get that job pretty easily, I'm sure, right? He's the legal counsel to the Jesuits in D.C. He's not nobody. He's not nobody, and he's not bad at his job either, right? He's no fool. He also did something, though. He created an organization he called an institute, the Christic Institute. The Christic Institute. And they are, as far as I can tell, behind the phrase Christ consciousness. It was them who created it. So you can thank this UFO lawyer for Rick Warren and all this Christ consciousness nonsense. I have the Wikipedia for the Christic Institute. It's not particularly interesting, and they've scrubbed most of the good stuff out of there, unsurprisingly.
Is this it right here?
Let's take a look. Yeah. There you go. Founded by Danny Sheehan,
Yes.
his wife, and their partner, William J. Davis, a Jesuit priest.
Yeah,
Nothing to see
there it is
here,
right
folks.
there. Oh, with the black sun symbolism. I love it.
Iran Contra. He was involved in the Iran Contra legal proceedings as well, which we were basically run by the Council for National Policy, which is the group behind Trump, right? Steve Bannon's in it, all that stuff. So the Christic Institute created the idea of Christ consciousness, or at least sort of popularized it in the 90s. Okay. And that's where, so it's just a weird thing for a lawyer to have come up with, it feels like to me. They ended up having to rebrand, and now they're the Romero Institute because whatever. Funnily enough, this is kind of how much power they had. On November 16th and 17th, 1990, Bruce Springsteen, Bonnie Wright, and Jackson Browne performed a benefit concert for the Christic Institute at the Shrine Auditorium while the case was on appeal before the 11th Court. So these people literally can get, Bruce Springsteen to play themselves a private concert. This Christic Institute, then this Danny Sheehan guy. So they're not nobody. Okay, right. It's just weird. It's just a bit weird. Okay, and funnily enough, there are two of the OG conspiracy theorists that both informed us about the Institute, the Christic Institute, quite some time ago. And I want to cover both of them because it's very interesting here. The first is Bill Cooper. Everybody knows Bill Cooper at this point. William Cooper said this about the Christic Institute. He says, unless Americans in rapidly increasing numbers become imbued with the spirit to awaken to this Christic church, and again, I refer you to the Christic Institute, run by another secret society, the Jesuits. So he correctly called this out before the internet, before I could easily just search this up. Bill Cooper called out the Christic Institute, Christ consciousness, called it out as a Jesuit-controlled operation. He warned us about that in the 90s. That was interesting to me. That was always of note. I've always wondered about Bill Cooper. I go back and forth on him. There's good things and bad things, but aren't we all sinners?
Well, I think too, man, like I think he needed to live longer, like he needed to get down the rabbit trail a little further, maybe, for some of his stuff to maybe fully come together. I don't know. I kind of get what you mean, but I'm just not sure. I mean, he did
He
get
missed a
shot in
bit.
his front yard, but then was that
But he also predicted it months ahead of time.
Right,
Like
right.
it's all seems very odd. So he's one of those figures I can't put my finger on. Everyone else has their mind made up one way or another. I'm going to take the information.
At the end of the
he
day,
provided.
dude, you have to test these people and see what they believe.
test
At
the
the
spirit.
end of the day, bro, like.
The other OG conspiracy theorist many people will maybe be familiar with, I put a link to a BitChute video in the chat for you. Does anyone recognize the name Mae Brussel? She's one of the OG conspiracy theorists, even before Cooper. So this is an old episode of Mae Brussel's show, but we don't need to play it to find what we're looking for here, folks. You'll find this very interesting.
Ads right now.
Oh no, you don't play it. Don't bother playing it. It's not in there. It's in the video description.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it. Okay.
So on this old episode of Mae Brussel's show, if we look in the video description real quick, right at the bottom, we'll see something interesting here. We have partnered with the Romero Institute for donations. Donations made through this are tax deductible. RomeroInstitute.org, Action Mae Brussel. So while Bill Cooper was calling out the Christic Institute as Jesuit anti-Christianity, she was teaming up with them, monetizing through this network. So I now do not trust Mae Brussel anymore.
Wow.
That is an unfortunate find. So I don't know about that one. I want to go back real quick. I had this one. So I want to end my section on Danny Sheehan here real quick and his Christic Institute, his Romero Institute with that tweet.
I love this. I love this picture.
Yeah.
It speaks so much, man.
We brought this up last show, and I want to bring it up again so people can now understand a bit more why this is so weird. What does it mean when Danny Sheehan is at RFK Jr.'s Thanksgiving dinner? Why is he there? What is this?
Wow.
What's going on, folks? What is this web of people? I'm most intrigued by this. I'm glad they didn't take that down. Thank you for leaving it up, RFK. Really nice of you, bud.
Yes.
So,
yes.
What does that mean? It's very strange. We remember, too, that Danny Sheehan is also friends with Amaryllis Fox Kennedy, RFK's son's wife. So RFK's daughter-in-law, a former CIA asset, and friend of many of these ufologists. So this kind of seems like she's the resident expert in this family. I think she's the one to the right of RFK, I believe. 90% sure she's the one to the right with her hands on the shorter gentleman in front of her. Interestingly enough, so she has another friend too, another famous ufologist, someone, no introduction required. Everybody, Stephen Greer, everybody's favorite. Let's talk about him for just a quick second here. He's the one who ran the Disclosure Project in 2001, those famous meetings where everyone sat at a very long table before some cameras and said everything they knew about aliens as if it were all true. We've all seen the clips. We all know the people. But I do find it interesting how often, it's funny too, you mentioned it at the start of the show, how these people get around. They get around to a lot of shows, don't they?
I want to show you something that I found. Sorry, I just put a bookmark right there. Put a bookmark. It's a perfect spot too. Okay, because I was reading this article, and this article is by John Kleizak, right? And it's obviously
fantastic,
about
yes,
Barbara Marks Hubbard. And I saw Laura with the mystery.
Laura Magical Mystery Church.
Magical Mystery Church. I always get the name messed up.
It's a hard one, yeah.
And I saw something interesting here.
Hit me.
Where
I'll
is
be
it? I just had it. Okay. So, right, you were just making those connections with Sheehan. What's his name?
Danny Sheehan, yeah.
Sheehan, right? And RFK. Well, This is what Barbara Marx Hubbard was talking about a long time ago, right?
Mhm.
Right here, the transhumanist
Wearables.
neurofeedback wearables.
Yeah.
And who's
Wearables.
pushing wearables right now?
Yeah. It's funny because
RFK.
we have another example of carrot and stick here. Nobody wants Elon Musk to cut a flap in your skull, laser a hole in your brain, you know what I mean, and put a Neuralink in there. Nobody wants that. But how many people would accept it if, say, there was a hat with sensors in it, right? You don't have to get the
or
Neuralink.
sensors in your clothes, like Klaus Schwab was
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
years ago.
Wearables are the carrot. Neuralink is the stick, meant to scare you into thinking, well, that's a better idea. Oh, the hat. Yeah, I'll get the hat. I wanted the Neuralink, but that's scary. I'll get the hat. And they trick you from stick to carrot. Again, every time. It's always a dichotomy with these people. Fear, so they can offer you hope. Every
Wow.
time. It's this, again, World Future Society versus the World Economic Forum, the Club of Rome versus the Club of Budapest, right? The Bilderberg Group versus La Circle. It's a dichotomy with these people. So back to Stephen Greer real quick. I'm not going to ask you to play this one. I found it interesting, though. He did a in-person interview with Charlie Kirk that Charlie Kirk's website still has behind a paywall.
Really?
Yeah. So I just thought he gets around. He kind of cut through all the ads and oh my goodness gracious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Charlie Kirk show interviewing.
Qualia, I think, is associated with Deepak Chopra. I think it's
they're trying to sell you on it, man.
What in the world?
But yeah, so he's done interviews with Charlie Kirk. He's been on all the podcasts. He's been on Alex Jones. He's probably one of the most famous UFO pushers, is Stephen Greer. Okay, and there's a lot that could be said about him. Here's an article from
Charlie Kirk was CNP.
Yes, Charlie Kirk was Council for National Policy through and through, and so we can see the quote unquote evangelical right interacting with the UFO sector again. Right. And we're going to see more of that as we go down here. Not on this page, but like as we go through the show, we're going to see more CNP interaction here. These Christians are willingly interacting with the New Age and the UFO movements and integrating their suggestions into their theology. It's not good, folks. It's not good. So this is an excellent website, isgpstudies.com. This article is so long we could spend 3 hours just reading it. I'm not going to bother. Like, this is just scroll through it real fast, like as fast as you possibly can, because it goes on forever. There is so much evidence about all of this. There's no point in me reading what everyone else has already done. A lot of these UFO people, there are holes in every part of the story. None of it makes any sense. This is all bunkum, okay? It's easy to disprove Stephen Greer. I don't need to do that. Hundreds of other people do that every day, okay? But what I do find interesting is stuff like this. Stuff like this. Little comments by him from time to time, like him holding up Tulsi Gabbard and Amaryllis Kennedy and Marco Rubio, who are preparing for a knife fight to make sure UFOs get released. Metaphorically speaking, of course. You could play a little bit of that 1 minute clip if you'd like. It's
okay.
It's all of note. Is this just?
This is a UFO?
It might just be. I think that might just be junk. Never mind. I thought that would be an interview with him. Sorry. Silly.
Let me see. There's an interview here.
Yeah, that one's a bit longer. Yeah, why don't we play that one? Let's just see what they have, because I have gone through so much stuff. I've forgotten so much of this, folks. This is 3 years of work that I've compressed into a 3-hour show in 8 hours today. So I'm sorry. I do forget things. I miss things. Hit it. Let's see what they say. I don't know.
What is catastrophic disclosure, and for whom is it catastrophic?
Well, the term was first used by some special forces guys who were moving forward the last 2 years to come forward with a great deal of that kind of information, evidence, crash retrieval of BT craft, all of it. And they were told by some people in the intelligence community, well, that would be catastrophic disclosure to do that. And I actually think that's a type of gaslighting of whistleblowers. And so what I'm calling catastrophic disclosure is what we're on the verge of if we're not careful. And let me go back a few months when I was talking to some folks after the current president was elected. And one of the discussions was that if this comes forward in a way that has been planned for decades, that it would be catastrophic, that it would be much worse than COVID, much worse than 9/11. And that's what I'm calling catastrophic disclosure. It's not the release of the evidence and information that almost all Americans sense at this point is out there. I mean, more people believe that we've been visited and the government's been hiding things for decades than have voted for any president in modern times. I mean, it's up in the 60% plus range. So, I mean, even the Reagan landslide didn't have those sort of numbers, and very few members of Congress have those sort of numbers. So what it really is, and this is, I think what happens when you have people who are embedded in government who try to keep putting speed bumps in the way of this information coming out, and with it, the technologies, is that they keep trying to say, oh, you know, it's just...
You remember the last video that came out? It was a parachute. One of the UFO videos that came out, it was a flare falling on a parachute.
Yes, and then immediately right after. Go ahead.
Oh, what we're looking at on the screen is look, it's a parachute and something's falling holding onto the parachute, but oh, it's a UFO.
Oh, he's been caught and debunked with his CE5 programs off the coasts of the on the East Coast, where he'd take people to the beach, charge them a bunch of money, and do these, you know, meditation states where then they would usher the lights in the sky. Right? It's a whole nother. It's close to Counters of the Fifth Kind.
Yes, CE5.
Yeah.
Yes, he has.
That this was an airplane dropping flares off the coast, and this was happening.
And he knows when the planes are going out, so he knows when to schedule the meetings.
Yes.
Just a thought, people. Just a thought. But so anyway, Stephen Greer has been routinely debunked. It's not hard to do that. So again, I want to go really quickly to quickie video there of Stephen Greer commenting on someone interesting. Excuse me, I need to cough quickly.
Okay. Stephen Greer. And that symbol on his shirt, I've seen that symbol somewhere else. I've even seen that symbol on the Abraham Accords coin that Trump, Trump is on.
Let's see.
In the third temple.
I didn't pay attention to that. Let's see that. Good eye.
Oh, yeah. So let me see if I'll pull this up.
That's the biggest thing, Stephen, is we all notice a little bit together, right? Like chat has a role to play in this. You have a role. Everyone has a role to play in this because we all know a little bit and it all fits together. And the more we talk and the more we add our information together, if you have something to add to this show, anything's caught your eye, comment on the video, please. Add it to the discussion. I want to know as much as possible. I want to see what's going on here. And if I'm wrong about any of this, I want to know that too. Right?
Absolutely.
So
all right, let's hear what he's got to say. This is the video you just sent me.
Yes.
And I want to say this, it's a completely nonpartisan person, and it's a completely independent person, because I deal with people all over the world. This issue absolutely has to transcend the sort of ridiculousness of partisan politics. But there was a woman who was recently, I think today or last night, confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who I think will be very friendly to this. And someone that I've known for a while, who's a friend of hers, is Amaryllis Kennedy, who is RFK Jr.'s son's wife. And I want to say this, it's a completely Amaryllis Kennedy, who is RFK Jr.'s son's wife. So RFK Jr. is the father-in-law for Amaryllis Kennedy. And Amaryllis Kennedy was a CIA undercover officer for, I don't know, 6 or 8 years. She very much is aware of this subject. She's very supportive of real disclosure. She's aware of the fact that JFK and most likely Bobby Kennedy Sr. were killed over this issue, and that there's a lot of work to be done. So, and you can put up on the screen, the president has announced a White House, from the White House, an intelligence advisory group or board that Amaryllis Kennedy is on, as is Congressman Noon and others, Nunes. So what I see happening is that it's going to be sort of well, I won't say who said this to me, but someone very senior in the administration said this is going to be a knife fight, because over, does this come out? How does it come out? How much of it comes out?
Okay. So one of the most interesting things about that, I have here Amaryllis Fox Kennedy on Tucker Carlson, but it's not that important. But, you know, she makes the rounds. She does the show. She talks to the shills. You know, she puts in the hours. She's putting in the work. It's interesting to note Tulsi Gabbard's not in the government anymore.
Right.
And it's interesting to note that Fox has also said she's stepping back from what she's currently doing and working behind the scenes on something, whatever that means. So there's something going on. But what Greer said there was interesting. He said, he's almost saying, like, we got to put it all aside. We got to put aside our partisanship and our feelings and our, you know, our grudges against each other. I think one of the things he's talking about is another ufologist. He's talking about Linda Moulton Howe. I put a little short clip, a YouTube clip in the chat for you. Linda Moulton Howe is another famous ufologist, but she takes pretty much the exact opposite stance of Stephen Greer. Okay. Stephen Greer is filled with optimism and happiness and love and light and all that jazz. So Linda Moulton Howe was asked, what do you think of Stephen Greer?
I have to ask, just because I watched Stephen Greer's latest documentary over the weekend, which I wasn't a big fan of, but he alleged in this documentary that all extraterrestrial life only wants peace, and he claimed that any cattle mutilations or abductions are only the U.S. government trying to trick people into a false alien war. What's your opinion on that?
Who is he working for? People who are saying or are being paid by units of governments to say that it is a secret branch that is doing animal mutilations for X, Y, and Z reasons. It's not true.
So we can see there's a lot of discord here in conspiracy land and UFO land. Not everybody gets along, and there's a couple different angles. So there's the Stephen Greer, all aliens are good and only want good for us. And it's interesting how she pointed that out, how Stephen Greer is basically saying anything negative associated with the alien phenomena is actually just, you know, the Illuminati and Area 51 and all that, right? Almost like it's setting it up for the aliens show up and say, all right, now remove all your government because they're the bad guys. We'll do it for you here. You know what I mean? It's almost like he's setting them up as a savior. And she kind of sees it as, what if you're wrong sort of thing, right? So there's a lot of discord in UFO land. There's a lot of people who gets mad. Interesting thing about Linda Moulton Howe, okay? Originally, she was working as a science documentary filmmaker. She had produced 11 full-length normal documentaries. Before her 12th, she started working on a documentary about aliens called Strange Harvest. And HBO loved Strange Harvest so much that they called her up to offer her to make a new one called The ET Factor. The night before her meeting with HBO, she gets a phone call from a famous ufologist called, I believe it's Richard Doty. I know Doty is I just think it's Richard Doty. Could be Brian Doty. Anyway, she gets a call from Doty and some other people who say, we want to show you documents. Literally one day before she's making a documentary for HBO, right? And then later, she kind of says that this was actually faked and I was tricked and I was hoodwinked by these people and I don't trust them anymore. And that kind of setup is what happened with Bill Cooper. You know, it's almost like, what timing? Here are the documents, sir. Yes, please tell the whole world what they say. It's very convenient, huh?
Yeah. What does she kind of claim with this whole idea of the harvest?
She's the original thumbnail you had for the show with the underground. The image, the thumbnail I had you produce for the show was split in two. You had a positive, bright side, and you had like, you know, Stephen Greer and these people promoting the optimism of alien encounters. And on the right-hand side there was an underground UFO base and cloning tanks. She's one of these people who essentially says that at Dulce, New Mexico, they grind humans up into paste and then the aliens bathe in it.
Oh wow.
She is the negative side of this. Yeah, Independence Day. There's 1,000 movies, 1,001 movies about, you know, alien harvest. We are but plants.
Well, I mean, even Bob Lazar is talking about the same thing, that this world is like a container of souls, which that's the idea where you get like this Gnostic New Age belief of them stealing our loosh. You'll hear it all over the place. And it's insane how much it's pushed on other shows with the idea that there's these archons. And archons, by the way, David Icke connected archons directly to reptilians, and that the reptilians are here actually stealing our energy and our forces and feeding off of our fear and all this crap.
The
right?
loosh vampires, as some people call it, or the vril suckers. There's all these different internet terminologies that you can use for this. The energy vampires, really, right? Someone in chat was just asking really quickly. It's kind of a hard question, but is Owen Benjamin a plant? I'd like to say no, but personally, I'd say I'm like 75% leaning. There's something wrong. There's something there that I don't like, especially he just had his interview. He had an interview with Tucker, and Tucker's brother showed up for it too. And then Tucker's brother was tweeting that Owen Benjamin's the best man in the world he's ever met and stuff. It just rubs me the wrong way. I like his methodology. I like his thinking. He makes a lot of good points. But there's just something weird that I can't quite put my finger on. It's like how I don't fully trust Bill Cooper. You know, I'm not writing him off either. Owen's one of those people like Bill Cooper. I can't write him off because I don't have that level of confidence, but I don't trust him fully. You know, I haven't good to outweigh some of the things that I question. Yeah, it's like, you know, Tucker and Benjamin, and it's just a weird. So anyway, I just wanted to answer that. It's very out of the side. I'd like to get back to the aliens though. So this kind of, it feels like some of these people are deceived and others are deceivers, right? And it's like when documents conveniently come across your desk, like they did to Cooper or Melinda Moulton Howe, they were both very, very on the aliens are negative, something bad's going on, the government is involved with the aliens, right? And then you've got Stephen Greer and these other people that we're going to see a bit on the side here promoting it as a good thing. This very interesting split. So
yeah, I want to. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to start a new subject.
No, yeah. So this is the symbol of his company, right? CE5 Contact, and you get this 3-sided triangle. All right, you get a triangle with 3 circles on each corner of the triangle, and then when you go here and you type in Abraham Accords coin. And then you look up the images of it, and hopefully I can find a big one here. Let's just do this one. You go here and you can see this symbol is right there.
Got
the symbol is right there again, right next to like heart math, wearables, technology, all these kinds of things.
Meds.
Yeah, a digital grid system. I don't know. And then you've got like a Star of Ishtar down here. It's kind of weird.
An 8-pointed star, I'll note.
Binary code, the palm tree, which represents that's actually a phoenix tree, which, I mean, you can,
the symbolism is.
Yeah. But I've seen that symbol everywhere. I think it's even one of the ripple symbols, maybe. I don't know. It's something to do with that symbol. Again, it's loose connections, but thought I'd share it.
Okay. I'm not big on symbology. I'm one of those people. I'm not big on overly analyzing symbols. I'm not big on overly analyzing numbers and like seeing patterns in numbers and stuff. I just want articles where it's like so-and-so hung out with so-and-so and, you know, and just painting a picture of these extended friendships. A lot of these people pretend like they just met, but that's a lie.
Right.
Like, for example, one of the people later sort of says like, oh yeah, I met Stephen Greer at the 2001 disclosure agreements, you know, the symposium. But then later in another book, they say like, oh, he lived down the street from me in 1980. Like, which is it? Were you lying then or are you lying now? Right? Like, why the deception at all? So I think they wanted to paint UFO disclosure and the people coming into it, all the whistleblowers, as kind of an organic gathering, but it's not. It's all just friends hanging out with friends, doing conferences with those same friends and writing books that then have forwards and, you know, edits and reviews by all their same friends. It's just friends promoting their friends. It's nepotism, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, right? In-group preference, I guess, right? Very strange. Now we're going to get into a bit of a weirder area of ufology now. We're going to talk about a guy, John B. Alexander. This is a very interesting guy. He was in the Army. Lieutenant Colonel or General? I always get it wrong with him. John B. Alexander. Colonel. Okay.
This guy?
Yes, this guy.
That's the guy.
So his forward-facing existence has been about non-lethal weaponry, developing things like foams that you can spray on protesters that harden around their feet so nobody can run away and you can just arrest them all. Taser nets, tranquilizer gas darts, all this lovely stuff. Riot control, basically, right? So he's a very, very interesting guy. Done a lot of stuff. His current job right now, he works with the billionaire Robert Bigelow at Skinwalker Ranch. He's the principal. He's who Bob Bigelow has hired to head everything at Skinwalker. Very strange. Wow. So he's out of the Army now, but he is fully still invested in all of this. Okay, he has not stopped. He has not calmed down. He has only hit the gas. There's a few things to talk about with him.
Oh, wow. Look, it says he was in search of the mythological continent of Atlantis as well. He
went diving in 1972. Yeah. Don't read too much. You're spoiling.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Scroll it. You're spoiling it for yourself. Don't worry. We'll get there. I posted a link to Ordo Ab Cow, another fantastic website where this author has done more research than I have, folks. I will give absolute credit to Ordo Ab Cow, like I will to that other website, ISGP Studies. They have put in the work, folks. We're not going to read all this. It's huge, okay? But we are going to look at a little bit to do with John B. Alexander. In it, we're going to learn that John B. Alexander and a man named C.B. Scott Jones are members of what is called the Aviary. Now, I found this by accident. You've heard of the blue avian aliens, you know, the bird aliens that David Wilcock talked about. Dude. So I was looking for blue avian.
I made a tweet about it the other day.
Oh, gosh. Well, thankfully, that lead has died out, especially since Fox has proclaimed there's only 4 types of aliens, right? So I guess so much for the blue avians. But so in looking for avians, I found something called the Aviary. And the Aviary was a group of about a dozen high-level U.S. government officials and scientists. And it says here, each member of the Aviary bears a bird's name. Alexander, the leader, is Penguin, while Jones, C.B. Scott Jones, is Falcon, and Hal Puthoff is Owl. Others include Ron Pandolfi, Pelican, who is a PhD in physics and works at the Rocket and Missile Section of the Office of the Deputy Director of Science and Technology, CIA. We can learn a bit more. So there's this group that got together. They named themselves, like I said, after birds. This is kind of where you get some of this bird symbolism from, right?
Oh my gosh, bro.
What?
All right. I'm a symbolism guy.
Yeah.
And I think I just caught a lot of stuff. All right. So so I'm looking up pictures of blue avians, right? And so there's this one photo here. You can see it in the top left corner of the screen.
Yes, sir.
And if I zoom in on this, you could see a hand symbol right here.
Baphomet.
Right. It's the Baphomet as right hand up, left hand down,
Yes.
solve and coagula.
Yes.
Right. But here's the thing about this. Do you know what this symbol of that hand means?
No.
So if I go here and I type in, and by the way, I was like I'm probably boasting here and I apologize, but I just know that a lot of people stole the idea, or I'm making assumptions. But I threw this out on X as a research little tweet, and I saw a bunch of people starting to talk about it all of a sudden. So, but this is something I came across, and it's called the Hand of Zabazios, and it's a Phrygian god, male god, that is equivalent to Zeus. So if you type in Hand of Zabazios, you see this hand here. And this hand is the last two fingers down, and these three are up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same hand symbol that bird is doing.
Making, yeah.
Now that blue avian is also allegorical to the iconography. How do I say this? There's a connection to the symbolism of that bird to the ancient Mesopotamian bird-headed god as Enki.
Right, Enki with his bird
Enki
head, and then he's
is
putting
Lucifer.
the pine cone, and he has the bag in his hand, right? Yeah,
yes, exactly. And that's where you get these like little connections of this crap. I don't know.
Well, it's like you get these little hints that the occult has been brought into this, right? Like it's little hints that there's something off here, right?
See, there you go. That's
yeah.
That's Enki right there.
There's your Sumerian god or whatever, right? Not, you know.
Yep.
I personally believe, maybe this is ignorant of me, but I personally believe that all of these gods are basically just Satan in disguise, tricking people. Loki, Shiva. I'm sorry if that is offensive to anyone. I genuinely am, but I genuinely believe that it's just Lucifer in disguise, and not always has been. And that's why all of this seems to promote what we're seeing now. He was planning this all that time ago.
Well, I'll make an interesting point to add to that, because when you look in the Bible, right, and you see that there's a direct connection biblically that Satan is a cherubim, right? Lucifer is like this cherubim, right? Was an anointed cherubim. You could even see that in the beginning of the Bible when Adam and Eve fell, right? What did God do? He put a cherubim at the east gate of Eden. So what was there in the first place? And again, I'm not adding to scripture here, but I'm just kind of speculating a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because when I look at all of these ancient gods, they're all depicted either in a lion, an eagle, a man, or an ox. And those are the four faces of a cherubim. So there's something that's in the realm of these gods that shares characteristics of what a cherubim was.
And I can't help but notice that a chimera, the original chimera, which was, I believe, lion, basically you replace the human in that equation with a snake, right? It had a snake for a tail. So that the chimera is sort of the man has been taken out of the equation and replaced with a serpent, which, we all know what the serpent is. So just some interesting symbolism there. Again, I'm a bit looser on the symbolism. I tend not to ascribe as much to it. I mean, personally, that's just something been drawn by a random person. That's some fan art that someone who loves aliens has drawn on their spare time. It's
DMT,
not like it was.
Bro.
Yeah, it's not like it was drawn by Alice Bailey or Aleister Crowley. Say, we could look at some Aleister Crowley drawings and see how those look next to But we'll do that in a little bit. We'll deal with Aleister Crowley in a little bit. I want to continue with John B. Alexander quickly. So Alexander was this part of this weird aviary group, and seemed like it was this group of people who wanted the truth about UFOs to get out. And they were kind of like a secret version of like MJ-12. They were the white hat version of Majestic 12 that wanted to keep the secret, but they want to get it. The aviary wants it out. So some of the other stuff that Alexander does here, I want to paint a big picture of Alexander because he is actually a big player in this. Alexander is a member of the National Institute for Discovery Science, NIDS, privately funded research organization in Las Vegas and operated from 1995 to 2004. It was founded in 95 by real estate developer Robert Bigelow, who set up it to research and advance serious studies of various areas of fringe science, paranormal topics, but most notably ufology. This group, the NIDS, National Institute for Discovery Science, this group included Alexander, his wife, Victoria Lacus Alexander, the astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who we remember founded the Institute for Noetic Sciences. Edgar Mitchell was one of Barbara Marx Hubbard's most beloved friends during her life.
Wow.
He was a member of the World Future Society. He was, he's pushed the alien agenda. He's pushed the remote viewing agenda. He was the guy who snapped at people when they said you didn't land on the moon. Look at that. The first picture, source, Institute of Noetic Sciences, not NASA. No. So the group includes Alexander, his wife, Victoria Lacus Alexander, Edgar Mitchell, Gordon Novel, don't know who he is, sorry, Hal Puthoff, Bruce Maccabee, don't know who he is, airplane designer Burt Rutan, that name will come up later too, airplane designer Burt Rutan, Rutan, there it is. Yep. Just another one of these guys, designs weird looking jets. He's, got those Aquino eyebrows going, don't you, buddy?
Dude, he's just a weird looking new age guy for sure.
There is. And I I genuinely don't, I try not to judge people by their appearances, but a lot of these people always look a bit off.
Yeah.
Isn't there just something a bit weird? Anyway. So anyway, the group included all those people. Some of the ufologists that NIDS and thus Robert Bigelow have funded include Bud Hopkins, Bob Lazar, and Linda Moulton Howe, who is well known for her investigations of cattle mutilations and her conclusion that they are of extraterrestrial origin. She is also noted for her speculation that the US government is involved with aliens. So John B. Alexander works for the billionaire real estate designer, owner of Skinwalker Ranch, and cryptid and alien enthusiast Robert Bigelow. Just get a picture of Robert Bigelow, just so people can just kind of put a face to the name, right? So this gentleman is, he wants to build spaceships. He wants to build Mars colonies. I think that's him behind a Mars habitation tent he's trying to build.
By the way, I heard him on Jesse Michaels' podcast talking about how his wife and himself had an interaction and an encounter with the lady.
Bigelow?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The lady stuff pops out to me, bro. I don't know why. I'm this goddess stuff just revolves around me. I don't know why, but I caught it. And I think I have it somewhere on my Twitter, but it's probably like buried.
Someone has said that Bigelow has sold Skinwalker Ranch. That's interesting. I'll need to look into that. But I do know that Alexander is still involved with Skinwalker Ranch up to this day, as far as I am aware. Let me just double check here. Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, Michael. Timothy Alberino is just involved with a crowd that is just. It screams New Age. It screams that it's not of Jesus Christ. And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, I want to believe that he is trying to do the right thing, but I'm just, the fruit is not there. Like, you get what I'm saying, man? Like, I don't know. I'm not crazy, but I'm definitely being very observant. And like, this isn't like a judging matter. This is more of like, hey, what is going on here? There's concerns here, right? I mean, I don't know.
I want to thank Catherine Muschetti. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. For telling me that Bigelow has sold the ranch. He has. He sold it to Brandon Fugel, the co-owner of the Utah office of Colliers International. That's not suspect at all. But what I find interesting is he serves he's done his mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So that's going to be involved later too. Interesting. So yes, he has sold Skinwalker Ranch, but I think Alexander still works on the project there. I think Bigelow still has something to do with it, at least. A partial funding, maybe. I'm going to have to do more on that. Like I said, this is information I dug up years ago that I've never presented, that I've never put together in one form, that I just put together today. Some of it's crazy. That I only, like, when I saw things that I found 1 year ago and then I put it next to something I found 5 years ago, that added to even more of, like, I learned as much putting this presentation together as I did, when I was researching it all. So John B. Alexander, though, let's focus on John B. Alexander here. We've got a quickie article here, the Aviary Fact or Fiction. And it says here, the legend of the Aviary takes us back to the 1980s and 1990s, a time when UFO sightings were rampant and public fascination with ET life was at its peak. During this period, whispers of a secret group emerged, a group comprised of scientists, military officers, and intelligence operatives, all sharing an insatiable curiosity for the unexplained. People like Richard Doty, Dolan, Hal Puthoff, John B. Alexander, right? All the familiar faces we've talked about. They kind of said that Majestic 12 are currently in contact with aliens, and they've created a treaty with them to help protect Earth against stray asteroids. So this is more of that alien positivity, let's call it, right? And the only thing was, in return, humanity must achieve total unification and globalization by 2025. Well, that never happened, so sucks to suck, I guess. After that, Alexander, Doty, Dolan, Hal Puthoff basically wrote that after full unification and globalization in 2025, humans will be allowed off-world to advanced space facilities, and Majestic 12 will allow 144,000 human beings to be abducted for genetic testing, with selected DNA being extracted into clone banks for future genetic reconstruction. Does the number 144,000 ring a bell with you, Stephen?
Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah.
Why would they pick that number of all numbers, do you think?
Oh, I know what they're doing.
It's disturbing, isn't it?
I mean, they've got other things, too, that are a part of, like, this secret space program stuff. Like, they've got the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, right? Which is like this off-planet aerospace corporation. The military industrial complex secret space program. There's so much here. There's so much here. There's military abduction programs. Like there's.
Oh, well, hang on. Actually, that's the second link. I just sent you another one you can look at real quick. The LaRouche organization was even calling this out at one point because it's too far. It's too far. Most normal people aren't buying this, right? And so they had to slowly push it on people. Like, look at this. It's the soldiers of Satan, the spoonbender, Uri Geller and stuff, right? And Gorbachev. Why is it not loading?
What is this? It's not working.
Why? You can see the picture for, maybe I can stream it.
I'm trying to reload it here.
All these ads, bro. Look at this.
It's just spamming ads, dude.
Lord have mercy on us.
There's like no. Oh, I gotta wait for this ad
I would just ignore it. Just don't even touch it. I would say. So
okay, there we go. There we go.
Cheney's spoonbenders are pushing nuclear Armageddon, and there's John B. Alexander in that top picture. Uri Geller in the bottom picture here, right? These people
wow!
Hanging out, brushing shoulders. The LaRouche pack was not having any of this. The LaRouche pack, they were disgusted by this, right? We've got a few, couple generals there. The guy in the top left of the right page there, General Albert Stubblebine III on the top left of the right page. He'll come up in a little bit. Don't worry about him. We got below him, we have General Jerry Boykin, who called Islam satanic. General Jerry Boykin is part of the Florida Priory of the Knights Templar, but we're supposed to believe he's
who's that? Which guy is this here?
The one with the word faith next to in the middle.
Okay, here.
No, down one. Sorry.
Okay, right here. Okay.
Him, yeah. I meant vertically middle. Sorry. So yeah, Boykin is a Knights, Florida Priory of the Knights Templar or something like that. John can tell you more because he's more of a Council for National Policy figure. He's a a politics figure more than anything, and a military one.
This guy
a lot
looks
of these
familiar
guys,
down here.
what's his name? Can you zoom in for me?
Pat
Robertson. Oh, diamonds, Nigerian diamonds. What a great guy he was, huh? Bill Cooper exposed the heck out of Pat Robertson too. I have a show that I animated. I put all the pictures up to go with Bill Cooper speaking, and I'll send it to you. You can put it up on your channel for free if you want.
Yeah.
Abu Ghraib, Satanists and Spoonbenders. It's an interesting read, that LaRouche article, the Spoonbenders or the Soldiers of Satan, right? Satanic subversion of the military. Aquino and his wife, Lilith Butch, or Lilith Aquino. I believe she was the one controlling him, not the other way around. From what I've seen in the pictures, she's the one in charge, and he was just he was the puppet with the hand up his backside, and she was the real mastermind. From a lot of the books I've read, there was a book by one of their friends, a Satanist friend of theirs. I can't remember his name, but the book was called Energy Magics of the Vampire. And they talk about shape-shifting and energy theft and casting spells to steal people's life force and extend your own. That was one of the craziest magazines I've ever written. LaRouche, for whatever they are today, back then, man, they were fighting for God back then, at least. I don't know about now, but at this time, they were exposing all the right stuff. And it wasn't until like now that we're picking up on it, how important it was, like Constance Cumby's work. It didn't matter for 30, well, I'm not saying it didn't matter. I apologize. That was the wrong wording. It wasn't noticed. It wasn't really absorbed into the equation until much later. So I find that all very interesting. You mentioned MILABs, military abductions. So we've got a quick, this is an essay John B. Alexander wrote on military abductions. He throws his wife under the bus. In this article, he says, actually, it was my wife who said that. So, what a great guy.
Wow.
But he's basically trying to dissuade people from the notion that military abductions are military abductions because he's military.
Yeah.
Right? Like, come on, guys. So
I almost have the thought that all of this stuff is fantasy. Like now it could be true in some sort of way, but it's almost like it's all one just gigantic psyop to get people to believe in the phenomenon of extraterrestrials in a certain way, in a certain scope.
Yeah.
So kind of, I mean, what are your thoughts with that?
I'll send you a picture. It'll tell you, let me just grab it real quick. Sorry.
It's just a thought. It's just a thought I have. It's not like, I mean.
I'm going to toss this in the Discord for you. Wait, where's Discord? Where'd it go? Sorry. Too many screens, too many things going on. Open image, a new tab. What is happening? My computer's freaking out. There we go.
Yeah, MILABs.
There we go. Okay. I guess I have to save it to the desktop and then put it in here for you. My response to that is this. I think you're correct, Stephen. I think, you know what they want? You'll see it in a second when you pull it up. What do they want, Stephen? They want you to believe because belief precedes faith. Eventually, Satan wants your faith. First, he needs to get you to believe in a lot of these things first, right? And a person who wants to believe is the most easily manipulated because they'll grab onto anything, even if it's bad evidence, because it makes them feel good.
Wow.
And it's a way of preying on people.
Wow. Okay, this is making me think why the hantavirus, the publicity of it came out, and then the fact that the X-Files were talking about the hantavirus in the season, right?
Yes.
And that it was the aliens that were doing it or that were responsible for it, the genetic manipulation of it to cause an Armageddon. Dude, I can see the psyop behind it because now it's like people are making a psychological connection to what the X-Files was disclosing years ago, and then they're like, oh, this is predictive programming, so you think of it in a certain way where you're like, your subconscious is making a connection with the alien agenda, and you're not really aware of it, but it's there.
They've handed you an empty frame, and then conveniently they're going to hand you a picture that fits perfectly in that frame later.
Yes.
And it looks like, oh, wow. But really, it was just kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy all along. They tricked you.
But then, and it's also promoting more of the dark forces of this world. Like, oh, see, because that's what all the predictive programming is connected to. It's like, oh, they have to show you before they do it.
Right.
And that's how this Illuminati works.
Can I?
Right?
I need to take a tangent there. That theory comes from John Shelby Downard. He worshipped Pan, as in Pan, the Greek goat-hoofed child stealing.
Oh, yeah.
William Shelby Downard worshipped Pan. Do we believe him on anything else?
Shouldn't.
Exactly. So when people say they have to tell us beforehand, a literal Satanist told you that.
Is it James Shelby Downard?
Yes, James Shelby Downard. Yes. He wrote a book with a guy called William Grimstad called The Rebirth of Pan, where they basically said, they admit when Christ was crucified, the oracles at Delphi and Sybil around the world cried out in pain, our powers are gone, our vision is gone, the black magic is gone, Christ died and banished the old magics from the world. And then the authors of this book say, but maybe if we pray really, really hard to Pan, he can come back. What? What? Like, are you kidding me? So they know Jesus is Lord. They know he banished black magic, and they want to worship Pan anyway. Some people are outright evil, and James Shelby Downard is one of them. So personally, I do not believe anything he says.
Wow.
Anything. I do not trust that man. So type in, Grimstad is the name of the other author. He wrote King Kill 33 about JFK, right? And he wrote another book. He was associated with the writing of The Rebirth of Pan by William Grimstad. And so that was a little side note, I suppose, since you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Revolting stuff as always, right? And we know the Masons worship Pan, the writing, the taking the goat, or you taking my goat or whatever, riding the goat.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Pan junk as always. It's funny too that you mentioned psyops and that Michael Aquino came up. We all surely recall the source of Michael Aquino's fame or infamy at the Presidio Naval Base, right? I don't really even want to go into what he did at what he allegedly did at the Presidio Naval Base to underage people, right?
Wow.
But so he allegedly at the daycare of the Presidio Naval Base was where Aquino would operate out of. In his book, Aquino's book, From Psyop to Mind War, pull this up yourself because I don't want people to think that I've picked a copy with this specifically.
Yeah, what is it?
From Psyop to Mind War is the name of his book. Yeah, From Psyop to Mind War. And then see if you can find, I think it's on, there's a few, I would go to probably, the second one, because it's the Internet Archive where everything gets stored. Written by Colonel Vallely and Michael Aquino, From Psyop to Mind War. If we scroll down to the beginning of the first chapter here, this is just the preface here. The preface. Oh, go up. I just saw it. Where was it? It was there, page 4. So at the beginning of the book, the first words of the book, From Psyop to Mind War, the Psychology of Victory. Would you like to just take, what's that first line, up one? That line, the one down.
Right. The psychological of victory, or the psychology of victory.
And below that?
LTC John Alexander's military review article in support of psychotronics.
Yeah. That entire book, Michael Aquino bootlicks John B. Alexander's work on non-lethal weapons and says that it's the first stage of psychotronics, of us taking over the mind of our enemy. And this is where Alex Jones got the idea of the info war, the title, the info war from Psyop to Mind War.
Wow.
right? Or at least it's alleged that that's where he got the title from. They do mention it in Scientology as well. They mentioned the prison planet in Scientology, and those documents were released before Alex Jones named his website. So that like establishes a chronology for us. Anyway, the Presidio. So Aquino is a big fan of John B. Alexander. He chills at the Presidio. He does some dirty things to people. He offed himself on his roof in California about a decade ago at this point. His wife is still alive as far as I'm aware. She does charitable work, you know, donations and stuff, and goes to galas and whatnot. They're still at it. Anyway, what the interesting part about this is actually the Presidio Naval Base, because if we went a couple doors down at the Presidio, if we were at the Presidio and we were getting Aquino in cuffs, we could go a few doors down and grab a few more people at the Presidio too. Let me grab this article from the San Francisco Chronicle. It's paywalled, so I'm going to grab you the archived version. There you go. Grab that on screen for us real quick, and we'll take a look at that.
Gotcha. Fascinating stuff, man.
Suddenly, we're going to need to talk about a company that has its office in the Presidio. That would be the Gorbachev Foundation. The Gorbachev Foundation. Very, very strange thing to throw into the UFO mix, but here we go. So the Gorbachev Foundation had its office literally in a naval base. Like, this was considered national, a national security high. Like, you wouldn't be allowed to just go in there and be like, hey, could I open up my cookie store? They'd be like, go away. This is an army base. What are you talking about? Right. So in this article, we can learn a little bit about how Gorbachev was sort of courting the United States. He was, a lot of people were reaching out to him and saying, come to America. We want peace dialogues. We want to talk. We want this to stop. Right. And so he was treated as a hero for putting himself at risk coming to America. Like, no American president's going out to Russia to put himself at risk there, but he came here to do that. So it was interesting. So he was kind of, I've got a few pictures of some of the events from when he came over here. I'll put them in the Discord for you real quick. We can just take a quick look here. We've got, this one's an interesting one. Soviets honored at St. John the Divine Cathedral. One evening, many of the Soviets met at St. John the Divine Cathedral for an interreligious service in celebration of the third millennium. The master of ceremonies for that evening was the Very Reverend James Morton, Dean of the Cathedral of St. John. Daniel Anderson of the Temple of Understanding organized the event. Some of the many participants were, they're mostly Russian people who were going. It was interesting that they had Russian Orthodox Church, Jewish Moscow Synagogue, people there. They put on a play, and it had to do with space, obviously, and conflict. This is a cathedral. This is not the place for this. Do it at a theater, right?
Oh, shoot. Hey, sorry to interrupt you. I totally missed the super chat, but thank you, MJ. Appreciate the super chat. She says, thank you, brothers, Steven and S90. Love to you all and to the crew. Hey, Dunt, can't stay on the live, but I will listen soon. This will be fire. I can already tell. Praise God. Jesus Christ is King. Amen. Thank you for the super chat. Much love. Sorry about the latency there. I'm so zoned in here. I'm zoned in.
They'll get it when they watch the full show. I sent the next picture for you. This one, you mentioned this individual last show, and I didn't grab onto it because I was saving it. Another picture from the Soviet dialogues here, the Soviet American Citizens Summit, as they called it. Dr. Robert Mueller was there, of the Undersecretary General of the United Nations. He's a big guy in this new age UFO crossover politics religion cluster that we're looking at here. What else have I got here? This was a ceremony that was held where leaders from every religion all lit a candle together, with the Soviets representing atheism, a man from the US. So it says Religion, Atheism, and Spirituality Task Force lighting candles. Zia Shamsi representing the Baha'i faith. Father Luis Dolan, Catholic priest. Swami Sachidananda, Summit Chaplain, Hinduism. Sergei Petrov of Odessa and Kherson, Orthodox Christianity. Sadiksan Kamalov, Muslim Religious Board of Middle Asia, Kazakhstan. Judith Lamb Lion Institute, that's a weird name, Protestantism. Andrei Nutkin, senior researcher, USSR Ministry of Culture, representing atheism. And of course, Rama Vernon, director, CSAD, Buddhism. So they held this interfaith ceremony. They put on a play about space travel in a cathedral. They really did a New Age number during this Soviet American Citizens Summit where Gorbachev
This is perennialism.
Indeed.
This is wild.
The next thing I posted for you was a agenda and plenary speakers for Citizens Summit 2. So this was literally the next one. For about halfway down, we'll see that Barbara Marx Hubbard was speaking. Summit Program Chair. The purpose of the summit, introduction of Soviet and American co-chairs. So she was the one introducing everyone because she's the one who put it on. Summit Program Chair.
There it is right there. There she is, Barbara Marx Hubbard.
And further down, actually, under January 23rd, I can't help but notice Daniel Ellsberg. He's the person from the Pentagon Papers that Danny Sheehan represented in court, because he was the one who leaked the Pentagon Papers way back when and got in trouble with the U.S. government as a traitor.
Wow.
Turns out Daniel Ellsberg is Barbara Marx Hubbard's brother-in-law. De Ellsberg married her sister. Again, it's I don't like this George Carlin quote, but it's a big club and we ain't in it, right?
Yes.
And we wouldn't want to be in this. This is gross, guys, but we see you. We see this. So let's keep going here. Couple more fun things for you here. So another picture, we've got Senator Claiborne Pell, Rhode Island, with president of the Soviet Peace Committee, and Rama Vernon. That was the Buddhist person. What else we got? Doug Coe. Scroll down and you've got Doug Coe and Father Louis Dolan of the UN meeting in DC. Doug Coe is Family Fellowship, right? And involved with Trump.
Who's this guy here?
That's Father Louis Dolan of the Russian Orthodox Church.
Wow.
Oh no,
he looks kind of Orthodox.
Sorry, no. Metropolitan Philaret of the Russian Orthodox Church. Sorry. So
yes.
The guy, Doug Coe, Father Louis Dolan in the middle, who is the Catholic, and then Metropolitan, which is their name for like bishop, basically, or something like that. Philaret of the Russian Orthodox Church. I've got a couple more pickies. I'll put one. Oh, it's like a little slideshow. I'm having so much fun.
Yeah.
We've got a little more here. We've got Barbara Marx Hubbard with Paul Temple and Grigory Grechko and U.S. Senator Paul Tribble doing more of their little meetings, having fun. Oh, it's so cute, isn't it? They're just talking about peace, guys. Surely there was nothing weird discussed here. Check this, Stephen. This is as this came to me, okay? I'm sorry it's torn, everyone, but this is how it was brought to me. The Soviet American Summit is what I assume it says. It's off the screen. A Glimpse of the Future Now by Barbara Marx Hubbard. I clearly remember the day it started for me. I was sitting in my apartment in Palo Alto, California, exhausted after my campaign for vice presidency in 1984. Rama Vernon appeared and told, and then the article gets cut. But thankfully, the bottom right ripped half has something very interesting on it that we don't need any extra to figure out. Do you want to read that to your audience? Because your shock will transfer to them.
Wow. When we asked what this new person might be like, frequently they mentioned Jesus Christ, not the church, not religion, not dogma or theology, but the person.
And right above that, where it's torn, it says something. It says something new. We need it. It says we were informed that something pillars to communism, a new material base, a new political base, and a new person, a new man. When we were asked what this new person might be like, frequently they mentioned Jesus Christ, not the church, not the religion, not dogma or theology, but the person. The new man will be like Jesus, the person, but not the not the actual holiness of it, not the one true Jesus, but an imposter. What in the world is any of this, folks? I don't know. I just want to bring you what I found and share it with you, and I hope someone can make something of any of this. Why is that the only page that was torn? What is whatever?
Wow.
It's just such a weird. Hand to God.
A new political base and a new person, a new man. The evolution of mankind.
Yeah, the next root race, I assume. Or as they were calling it earlier, the emergent man, or as the science fiction authors of the time, Homo novus, right?
Now, have you put any thought into this, where pretty much the 6 root race is like the unity of mankind? It's where the balancing of mankind comes in. And it's where pretty much people are more spiritual. There's more intuition. I think there's a divine feminine aspect that comes into the world that helps bring all of this together. But then when the 6 root race, which really we don't know if there's any sub-root races, right, of the 6 root race, we haven't gotten that far. But let's just say we go into the 7th root race and it connects everyone to divine source. How would man still technically be God if they're connecting to God? This is there. I'm trying to wrap my mind around. I'm not at these tables with these people. I kind of wish I was, just to kind of get their idea of things.
But Stephen, you're punching a wall there. They're wrong, so there is no logic to be had. So there's no point in trying to figure it out. They're just wrong, and the holes are apparent, and we're going to keep going. There's holes all over the place in all this. It's disgusting, bro. I put another picture in there that will connect us to our next subject. Sometime in the late 1980s, then Colonel Paul E. Vallely, he was the co-author of Psyop to Mind War with a Kino, commander of the 7th Psychological Operations Group, U.S. Army Reserve, Presidio, San Francisco, co-authored a discussion paper which received wide and controversial attention, titled From Psyop to Mind War. And it presented a Nietzschean scheme for waging perpetual psychological warfare against friend and enemy alike, even against the American people. The Mind War paper was provoked by an article by Lieutenant Colonel John Alexander, who appeared in December 1980 edition of the Military Review, advocating the introduction of ESP, extrasensory perception, telepathic behavior modification, parapsychology, psychokinesis, moving objects with your mind over matter, remote viewing, out-of-body experiences, and other New Age and occult practices into the U.S. military intelligence. Alexander's paper was titled The New Mental Battlefield. Beam me up, Spock.
Wow.
He's written a couple of other interesting books that I forgot to send when I was talking about him, so I'll throw him in here now because that's perfect time. Here's one of his books, UFOs, Myths, Conspiracies, and Reality, written by John B. Alexander, forward by Jacques Vallée, he is the UFO pusher from the World Future Society, and a forward by Tom Clancy. If you look into the Council for National Policy, the conservative version of this CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, every organization you've been taught to hate in conspiracy, Bilderberg, CFR, World Economic Forum, they have a foil on the other side of the equation. And Tom Clancy, being part of the Council for National Policy, he is essentially the conservative, a member of the Conservative Council on Foreign Relations, right? He's not a good guy. Okay, we can't trust what he's saying. He's the author of all those spy thrillers and military thrillers. A lot of people know who Tom Clancy is. That's fine. And an introduction by Burt Rutan. When I sent this to John, I didn't know who Burt Rutan was, so I didn't highlight his name. But that third name without a box around it is Burt Rutan. It's again, it's just all the same people all day, every day, trying to tell you aliens are real and they're bad and they're coming to get you, or they're good and they're coming to get you, or what? So actually, yeah, we can do this one. I got a little article about Jerry Boykin I just put in there for you. We talked about him a minute ago. He was the Floridian Knight Templar. General William Jerry Boykin was the commanding general of the U.S. Special Operations Command Airborne at Fort Bragg. Very suspect Army installation with a lot of, in the last 5 years, I think more soldiers have died there than the rest combined, I believe, like all the other military installations.
Oh, wow.
So Prior to that, he was the commander of the elite counterterror unit Delta Force from 92 to 95. And in that capacity, he was in charge of special operations units in Mogadishu, Somalia, during the famous Black Hawk Down situation in 1993. You know, we've all, well, some of us have seen the movie. Here, some of Lieutenant in Somalia, they didn't include this in the movie, did they? Some of Lieutenant Colonel John Alexander's non-lethal systems, including sticky foam, were directly put to the combat test and failed. From March 2000 until June 2003, Boykin headed the U.S. Army JFK Special Warfare Center. So again, it's all intertwined. They're all trying to build a system to oppress us, frankly. Whether it's riot foam or tricking you that Jesus isn't real, it's a system. They're all constructing a prison around us, one brick at a time. I got one last thing on this guy. Here's a book by Tom Clancy. Oh, no, sorry. That's the foreword by Tom Clancy. It's written by Colonel John B. Alexander, and Tom Clancy has forwarded it for him again.
Wow.
Multiple. So these people don't just, it's not just a passing fancy. It's not just trains passing in the night. It's routine. It's repeated. It's a strategy. And it's a scummy one, frankly. But let's go on to talk about really quickly then.
Dude, our military has, I mean, it's the new age is everywhere, dude.
Yes,
it's
it is
everywhere.
I've got a link here I'll put in there for you. It's catholicculture.org. I am not a Catholic. I am simply linking this for information purposes, people. We're not going to have an argument between ourselves about what's right and what's wrong, but there's information in here that's interested. This is something called the United Religions Initiative, a bridge back to Gnosticism.
Wow.
And it's a long read. There was a small bit of it I wanted to look at. They talk about the people who are going. They talk about how on the spiritual side, there is Stanislav Grof, the transpersonal psychologist, Hal Puthoff, an ESP researcher, Barbara Marx Hubbard, Charlene Spretnak of the Green Party, Matthew Fox again, Deepak Chopra, Ram Dass. So that was just part of it. More substantially and more worryingly, however, and this is the next paragraph, more substantially and more worryingly, other notable members of the State of the World Forum includes Bruce Alberts, president of the National Academy of Sciences, Kim Dae-jung, the president of South Korea, Willie Brown, mayor of San Francisco. There's a few. And of course, Ted Turner at the end there. Got to get hit. He's everywhere. Ted Turner, I don't know how he manages to be everywhere at once. But further down, we see that the United Religions Initiative is supported by Robert Mueller again, Assistant Secretary General of the UN. And he's part of the Forum's International Coordinating Council. The Gorbachev Foundation has a State of the World Forum, which is an ally of the United Religions Initiative. There's no formal link between Gorbachev Foundation and the URI, but URI staff member Paul Andrews has said, we are friendly colleagues. Some people go to both meetings. And he says, one of these people is Alan Jones, Dean of Grace Cathedral. So there's more pastors getting sucked into this. George Soros added himself to the United Religions Initiative. So that's nice. Everyone loves George Soros, right? So I love how it's like the first bit wouldn't be enough for most people, but then they're like, ew, Soros. Okay, yeah, you're right. It's all bad. It was all bad to begin with. You just didn't like it until I mentioned Soros. It happens. It's okay, people. Like further down, we talk about Alice Bailey in relation to this. She wrote in 1946 that the new United Nations should be ready to use the atomic bomb against aggression, whether that aggression is the gesture of any particular nation or group of nations, whether it is generated by political groups or any powerful religious organizations such as the Church of Rome, who are, as of yet, unable to leave politics alone. You read it here first. The fountainhead of the New Age globalism wanted to nuke the Vatican. That's
Wow.
Alice Bailey. Even better known, perhaps, at these United Religions Initiatives are Mueller and Hubbard, but also Neil Donald Walsh, the New Age author again, whose cozy Conversation with God books have made him the Don Camillo of the New Age. The URI has given Walsh the leadership of its Committee on Spirituality and the Global Social Agenda. the global social agenda. I mean, just say it, just tell us, right?
Right.
So we can see tinges of the New Age pushing into Soviet culture through these meetings because people took this home with them, right? They were infecting the Soviet Union, which had been previously closed off real estate to this. So they infected and basically collapsed the Soviet Union, by my estimation. To a certain degree, they were responsible for its fall, maybe not completely. There was a whole article, but I can't get it to load anymore, on Rama. Rama had a whole document about it where he showed you all the stuff, but he's deleted it, of course, as they do. But while they were doing this, while they were being friendly and nice to the Soviets, do you know what else they were up to? I'll send you that from the New American. It's an article called Global Gorby. Global Gorby. And in it, this is a picture. It says, as a psychologist with Task Force Delta, an army think tank of futurists, strategists, and psychology and parapsychology researchers, Hubbard is credited with the idea of bombarding the Soviets with psychic love. The formation, and she, in this, also came up with the idea for something that eventually became called the First Earth Battalion. And so she was the one. So while they were making friends with the Soviets and introducing them to all their New Age slop, they were also, psychically bombing the Soviets with love. So they'd give in and love us and accept the truth of our, whatever BS they were pushing to them. So this First Earth Battalion thing is very interesting. Oh yeah, look at that. Let's just pause right there. It says additional participants include Fritjof Capra, Willis Harman, Deepak Chopra, Robert Mueller, Mathers Fox. It's the same thing every time. We can stop reading the lists of names, except for to get more new names. Like Zbigniew Brzezinski, Carl Sagan, Shirley MacLaine, Ted Turner, Jane Goodall, the monkey lady, right?
This might be off topic, but what are your thoughts with Eric Weinstein?
Oh, I think he pretends his IQ is higher than it is. And that's honestly all I really have to say about that. He says some things that I'm not a particularly intelligent person. I don't have a high IQ. I never finished college or any of this stuff. I can't call myself a doctor. I don't have a piece of paper to show for it. But sometimes he posts stuff that just has even me shaking my head.
Yeah.
And he's one of those people who puts the holes in his own boats with his own words. So I want to talk about this, the First Earth Battalion. I can get you that. You can you can pull that up and have a nice little look at that while I read something about it.
Okay.
The First Earth Battalion. So it says, the proponents of the Stargate project. Well, we remember that from the beginning. That was Stanford Research Initiative. That was Targ and Puthoff. Click the Wikipedia link itself.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And the proponents of the Stargate project that we've talked about at the beginning were involved in the creation of the First Earth Battalion, where military special forces met the New Age. On June 21st and 22nd, 1974, Hasted and Sarfati, now this is another name that's going to come up here in a minute, is Jack Sarfati. He's another UFO person who we'll cover in a second here. So it says, Hasted and Sarfati joined David Bohm, Arthur Kessler, Arthur C. Clarke, two of Uri Geller's associates, Ted Bastin and Brendan O'Regan, to watch Geller appear to bend 4 brass Yale keys. What matters here is first of all, Arthur Kessler being there. Arthur Kessler is the author of this book, The 13th Tribe, where he is the one he's the one who came up with the idea that the Khazarians, that it was just the Khazarians, right? We've all heard this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Khazarian Jewish theory. That is a book by Arthur Kessler, The Khazar Emperor, the Khazar Empire and its Heritage, right? He's the one responsible for that theory, Arthur Kessler. He's not a good guy. He's a New Ager. He's involved in all this junk. So his theory about the Khazarians, as far as I'm concerned, can be relegated to the dustbin like the rest of the trash these people put out. So if you believe, oh, the Khazarian mafia, if you've been listening to too much John B. Wells and people like that, and you've got the Khazarian mafia as your big bad guy in your mind, ask yourself where that idea even came from, and if the person who pushed that theory is even worth your respect. Just saying. Just saying. So with the First Earth Battalion here, they had a manual. Actually, they had a. This is funny. I'll send this to you. This is on Web Archive, so it's not actually the Khazarian mafia theory, right? I'm not saying Israel is amazing. I'm not saying Zionism is good. I'm not saying be a Judeo-Christian. Judeo-Christian isn't Christian, right? It's it's Jewish Christianity. That's what the Council for National Policy has as their motto, Judeo-Christian values, right? I am no Judeo. I am no Zionist. I have no support for any of those ideas. But, the whole a lot of these theories come from bad people, and so I don't believe them. And so when people say it's the Khazarians, to me, I shake my head a little bit. And it's a hard one to explain to people because you have to go through 3 hours of this just to get to the point, It's kind of crazy. I
just learned something new on StreamYard, dude. That's actually wild.
What is
it? I could switch tabs without closing out and then reopening up a share screen. I could just go from here. Boom. I could share.
Look at that new tech.
Let's go.
We're improving. So this is the First Earth Battalion's instruction manual. This was handed out to soldiers on their first day in the First Earth Battalion, an official arm of the U.S. Army, where they were thinking, well, you're going to meditate, and instead of bullets in your backpack, we're going to put a ginseng gas bomb that you can inhale and it'll make you happy. And it's insane. You scroll through it, bro. It's 51 pages. I don't want to look at it all. Just scroll through a couple pages. Look at, this is an official U.S. Army training manual for their super soldiers of the future. The guy behind this is a guy named Jim Channon, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Channon. He was the one who was put in charge of this First Earth. I just want to double check so I'm getting it right here, people. Sorry. Come on. Jim Channon, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Channon, a U.S. soldier who had served in Vietnam, and his idea of a new military of super soldiers to be organized along New Age lines. And so this was all his ideas. You'd align your chakras and you deflect bullets.
I was just about to say, that's a chakra system right there.
Yeah. It's it's universalism. It's universalism applied to the army. Wow. All the different religions get a little bit of play in here, and a little bit of theosophy gets a little play, and
Wow, interesting.
a very weird history of
Look at these images.
History in the army. Yeah. And he drew these all by himself by hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
A psycho.
Indeed. If you go down a bit, it'll show you some of the equipment they intended to equip the soldiers with. It's all. I mean, this is the whole premise of the entire organization. We can't look at it all, but if you keep scrolling till you see maybe a soldier with his backpack on or something. Yeah, they wanted to make the complete package, a soldier who was mentally strong, physically strong, spiritually strong, all that stuff.
Right.
But spiritually strong how? Well, in the New Age,
Right. What is
and
this?
It was all about psychology. A lot of this was about psychology.
Access to the universe.
Yeah, third eye junk, Be open and trusting of the universe, it says. No thanks.
Huh.
They got little X-Men outfits for their soldiers, little superhero costumes. Little weird. I don't know why that's there, but hey, that's there, So it's a very interesting read, the First Earth Battalion instruction manual. Very ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. It incorporated every little bit of nerdy New Ageism that this guy could get his hands on. There, the equipment. And it's like ginseng regulator, body rest music, night vision food stuffs. So like what, carrots?
Oh, dude. This is similar to like the uniforms or the outfits that they wore on the planet Dune.
You
Or,
are actually correct. And that's no surprise because Frank
How
Herbert
is-
was a member of the World Future Society.
You know how like it kind of recycled their sweat in a certain way?
Yeah,
And
they distilled it
filtrated
down,
so
bro.
then
They filtered it down and they drank their own
Wow.
waste. And that's what this is. We're watching the distillation of insanity over decades, folks. I'm sorry the show is pushing 3 hours already. I know you're getting tired, Steven, so I'm going to power through this last
Oh, we're
little
good.
bit.
We're good.
Okay.
Thought we were going for like 6 hours, dude.
Hey, I'm fine with whatever, bud. I got one last link about here, the First Earth Battalion. This is an interview that Jim Channon, the person who's put in charge of these ginseng super soldiers. I can't even say it with a straight. These ginseng super soldiers.
Jeez.
This is an interview he did on Potentials Media. And it just sort of has a little bit of a biography about him. Scroll down just a little bit, and it's really nothing important. But scroll up to the top now and read this. So it says, in this episode of Potentials, Envisioning the New Millennium, host Barbara Marx Hubbard explores the U.S. Army's Delta Force with one of its key visionary members. They explore how the Army has incorporated high-performance techniques from the human potential movement and how the concept of a soldier is changing. The future of the military as a global peacekeeping force is explored. Channon envisions a First Earth Battalion and a natural guard to protect the planet in this episode. To protect the planet from what? Aliens? Like,
I'm telling you what, man.
What the feel like. Why would you call it the First Earth Battalion if it didn't have something to fight off of Earth?
Now this is what I want to ask you. Do you think this is where they want to go? This is how they want to articulate things for the new religion of the world, to have an adversary, and that adversary would be Jesus Christ coming back with his angels to pour judgment on the earth. Like,
Well,
you think like this is why they're
yes.
going down this road?
I think a lot of the super soldier, and it's the same in China. I'm just gonna say that. I don't particularly want to mess with the Reds on this one. The super soldier testing and projecting has been done by the military, right? They're the ones who have the vested interest in the super soldier. They're the ones with the secrecy and the funding to commit to genetic testing, trying to play with what the new human is. But we've entered the 21st century now, haven't we? And we know about places like, I don't know, Zorro Ranch, let's say, or a little company called Colossal Biosciences, who they rode the fame of Game of Thrones. They came out and said, we brought the direwolf back to life. And then a couple days ago, they came out and said, we've hatched chickens from a fake egg that we made, and it looks like a cyberpunk cup, like a futuristic cup. And they pour this pink slime into it, and it grows into a baby duck, or a baby chicken. So Colossal Bioscience, they're at the forefront of not only gene editing, but de-extinction. It took me all of 5 seconds to think, what if I type in Jeffrey Epstein and Colossal Biosciences into Google? And it turns out that the guy who founded the company got hundreds of thousands of dollars from Jeffrey Epstein before he founded the company. So this task, it seems like they act like the new man will be a. Yeah, see, it says Colossal Biosciences has no direct corporate ties to Jeffrey Epstein. However, one of its co-founders, Dr. George Church, has well-documented prior association with the disgraced financier, for which he publicly apologized. Stuff it. Stuff the apology.
For real.
I'm sorry, guys. Like, forgiveness is one thing, forgetting is another. Right? I'm not going to forget this.
Right.
These people's crimes against they would have committed the same crime against me as they did against anyone else. It could have there, but for the grace of God, go we, right? Those of us who didn't get hurt by these people along the way. It could have easily been us. They would have done it to any of them, any of us, right? Like, I don't know, man.
Wow.
So that's a creepy thing to keep an eye on. They're at the forefront of gene editing and pushing this. So gross. Not a fan of that. I wanted to go back to the First Earth Battalion wiki page quickly because there was one last thing of note before we leave the crazies behind to go look at
what was it called?
The First Earth Battalion on Wikipedia. It was just their regular wiki page. There you go. Yeah. The men who stare at goats. The men who stare at goats. Does that ring a bell with anyone? Anyone?
Oh yeah.
Sound
they made
familiar?
a movie on it.
Yeah, they did. But the movie
George
was based
Clooney.
on but the movie was based on a book by journalist John Ronson. And does anyone recognize John Ronson, his name? Does recognize his face? Anybody? He was the guy who snuck into Bohemian Grove with Alex Jones.
Ah.
You remember that now? He was the one who was there with Jones when they snuck into Bohemian Grove. What's he doing over here? That's weird. I don't trust him. So yeah.
Huh.
Very curious. John Ronson, yes. He gets around, Mr. Ronson. So I thought he's held up as kind of a hero, for going in with Alex Jones and his bravery and yeah. Right? He kind of gets held up as a hero of conspiracy land for helping Alex Jones produce the first infiltration of Bohemian Grove. I don't think he's one of the good guys either, guys. Just like Alex Jones isn't. Just like the First Earth Battalion or any of these people aren't good people, right?
Dude, remember that thing we were sharing to each other? Or I think I sent it was Alex Jones opening up one of his shows. And what did he say, man? It turned me wrong, dude. I sent it to you. I was like,
I go back and get it. I got it up here. Hang on.
I got it right here. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, play that out, please. Because that was important too.
Yeah, it's wild.
So his new movie, he's now leaked out on Colbert, is about consciousness raising, and the aliens are about to raise our consciousness. And that is the great deception. That's what I know. That it's the aliens that are about to raise our consciousness and not God.
Like what?
The new man. This is what I'm talking about, right? The emergent new man. So I really need to blow my nose. I've been sick for so long.
You're good. You're good.
Sorry, just continue for a second.
I'm gonna run this back. Like, just listen to this, right? Because what we've been talking about pretty much this whole show is how they kind of create two pills for us to take. And both pills, it don't matter. You can take the blue pill, it doesn't matter. The red pill gets you in the same exact destination. It's the illusion of choice and how they kind of like to corral humanity to get to their end goal or to get to their destination. But I find it interesting. Huh? Carrots? Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah. Two bad choices.
So he's kind of alluding that, hey, the alien deception is bad, and God's supposed to raise our consciousness. That's how I read this.
So his new movie.
Where in the Bible does it say that God's going to evolve us into X-Men? Right? It doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
What is that?
It's now leaked out on Colbert, is about consciousness raising, and the aliens are about to raise our consciousness. And that is the great deception. That's what I know. That it's the aliens that are about to raise our consciousness and not God.
What? He's implying that he's for God raising the consciousness rather than the aliens. That's how I see that.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
We live in the weirdest confluence of times. We really do. I'm so sorry. My nose is just destroying me.
Oh, you're good. You're good. What a trip, man. Like there's a psyop in there.
There is. And you know what? There are a few conspiracy hosts who I think are deceivers or deceived and not deceivers. And to a certain degree, I don't wonder if Alex Jones is not a deceiver, but is simply deceived, and very easily so. Because, please hear me out, folks. there's another person that's kind of like this who sort of, I wasn't going to cover him, but I will because it's short. David Wilcock. We know David's no longer with us as of recently. And I don't like anything he said. I don't follow or trust anything he said. But there were a couple times he ran his mouth a little bit. And I wonder if he didn't say a little too much. And sometimes I got to wonder if they don't, shut the mouth that's talking too much, shall we say. I have a clip of Wilcock. Let's play this. This has nothing to do with UFOs, even though that was mainly his bag. He was one of the people behind the Blue Avians with Corey Good, right? And of course, now that Wilcock is gone, well, the Blue Avians aren't part of the 4 alien races, are they? They got rid of the proponents of that so they could clear that up nice and easy. So I will send you this link to a YouTube video of Wilcock's. This is from March 29th, 2023, if my memory serves correctly. And it should start at 10 minutes and 4 seconds. We'll see.
4 seconds.
We will see. It should automatically go straight there. I put the timestamp in the link. Bubble. Yeah. Okay.
They're getting the care they need.
So pause it. So this is during COVID. This is at the start of, go down quickly, actually, to the date on YouTube, like back out, press escape, and then scroll, go down to streamed 6 years ago. Oh yeah. March 29th, 2020. I'm sorry, 2020. So this was when COVID had just started, before the lockdowns, and only really Italy was suffering at the hands of COVID at this point, okay? So rewind it maybe 5 seconds. This is kind of just a little bit of setup for what he goes into next. He's talking about COVID in Italy and why it won't happen like that here. And then he suddenly launches into complete Q land, okay? And I swear he might have said some stuff he wasn't supposed to say, because it's like he reveals everything. He just gives it all away. Hit play and tell me
This
what
kind
you
of horrible
think.
stuff would have to be done. That's not happening. The healthcare system has been tested. People are getting what they need. They're getting the care they need. They're getting, auxiliary hospitals are being set up in places like New York City. It's only really in Italy where their economy is so strapped that they've had to triage. It's very, very sad that certain people are just not being admitted in because they don't have a high enough chance of surviving. That does not happen in the US, and it probably won't, based upon how fast we're able to create these mobile hospitals.
Wrong.
And get everything going. And the military is your friend. The military is not trying to hurt anyone.
What?
So keep in mind, this was while Trump was still in power, right? This was while Trump was still in power. I believe COVID was intended, Trump didn't intend to lose. Of course he didn't intend to lose. Excuse me. Trump didn't intend to lose in 2020. But that's why he shifted from COVID. Remember, he was Operation Warp Speed. It'll be the greatest, fastest shot ever. We got this, folks. This ain't going to crush us. And then suddenly he was unelected, and he changed his tune real quick. Don't take the jab. It's bad. Resist, right? I believe Trump planned to use COVID to introduce, to take over. And that's why David Wilcock is saying, like, the military is your friend, because that was the talking point while Trump was in power. So let's
because there was people with channels that were also pushing, like, martial law and the ideas.
We should
of these
have martial
things.
law, and everyone should be forced to take the jab when Trump gets it out. With Palantir, remember, Peter Thiel was behind Operation Warp Speed and Operation Tiberius Kirk, both named after Star Trek, because Peter Thiel's a giant nerd. So am I, so it's okay. That's game recognizes game. But Peter Thiel was behind, Palantir was behind Operation Warp Speed, which was about integrating all the data systems of all the hospitals together so that there was faster communication of patient data. And then I believe Operation Tiberius Kirk was, Tiberius Kirk was the software, and then Warp Speed was the jab. That was what it was. And those were both run by Palantir, and Palantir were the ones tracking the dosages and the lot numbers and who they went to, and obviously, you know, the reactions they had to them. I think they sent out different batches of stuff to different places to test different things on different people. Frankly, that's, you know, if I was a lunatic, that seems a logical thing to do, right? So I think that's what they did. So let's continue with Wilcock really quick. So he says the military is your friend.
One, they are helping with distribution of food, distribution of medicine, getting people critical care. That is what's going on right now. So the 3 days is the new briefing. This is something that I had told Elizabeth a few days ago. I was very, very excited about it, but there is no way that I was going to open my big effing mouth and be the guy who ruined disclosure for planet Earth. Believe me, I don't want that. So I was actually quite shocked when I found out that we were going to be authorized, that we were authorized to leak that intel. So when you no longer can get online and when your phone doesn't work, you got to wait 3 days. And then when the lights come back on, metaphorically speaking, even though they shouldn't be off, we're not expecting abnormalities in power. When the lights come back on, what have we been told? We've been told that every news channel and all the websites, all the television shows, they're going to have this 8-hour chunk of information. And they're going to play it 3 times a day. If you want to watch the whole thing, you got to watch 8 hours. It's going to run 8 times 3, 3 shifts a day of 8 hours. And that's all there's going to be. And this is going to be information that tells you that the planet was being run by a satanic cult. And I know it sounds crazy. It's like, well, David, this sounds like a really stupid, bad horror movie, but that's actually the way this thing is going. There are people on this planet who have been here trying to plot against us for many, many years, and they have not succeeded. They have lost decisively. If you really want to understand what's going on, I'm going to talk about some archetypes today. And one of the archetypes I'm going to talk about is the father archetype, okay? And I'm going to lay something on you here about Trump. I'm going to say that Trump is dad on an
I'm glad you didn't pause it. I'm glad he could embarrass himself one final time. God bless you, David Wilcock.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you're gone, bud. But he let slip. That's the only one I have right now. But there was another show where he talked about, I saw a binder, and on the front of it, it said the plan. And this is where he read all of this in. Kind of like the plan of Helena Blavatsky and Alice Bailey that they mentioned. The great plan, the great work, the great alchemy, whatever junk you want to call it. All the
magnum
same.
opus.
Yeah. All the same garbage. You know, a rose, a turd by any other name would look the same, right? So a small part of me, a small tiny part of me, thinks that Wilcock was deceived and not deceiver. And he may have yapped a little too much. I don't know, because he genuinely gave away the Q narrative right there, basically. The emergency broadcast system, then the Illuminati trials will air, and they'll all, you know, Soros will confess and Hillary will confess, and everyone will be, in another episode, he says, you will be forced, you must watch 1 8-hour shift of Illuminati confessions. Who's going to enforce that? What's the punishment if I don't? A lot of details get skipped over. He also talks about how during that time it will be martial law, army in the streets. You will be shot if you go outside, so stay in your home. The army is your friend, blah, 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 blah. He gave away the great plan, that he was trusted and shown a binder called The Plan with a capital T and a capital P for a proper noun representing an individual item and not plural in the English language. Capitalization matters. And so he saw a binder called The Plan, blurted it all out, and then died.
I want to ask you this, man. Like, do you think this is the plan?
Yes and no. Not every part of this needs to factor in. I think this is a buffet. Whatever means.
I agree with you there.
Victory by whatever means. So if they have to use, let's say, free energy and Saturn and the rainbow body, they'll do it. If they have to use Q and Antarctica and pyramids, they'll do it. If they have to use it all to get our trust, they'll do it. Whatever it takes, by any means necessary, victory, right? And so all of these things that are on here are indeed suspect, to me at least, because 99% of the time when you look at where the idea comes from, there's Barbara Marx Hubbard behind it. What?
Yeah.
Like, this crazy old lady was everywhere, dude. And not just her, but her friends, her lieutenants, her ideological students, and even just people who believed the same thing. Not everyone is linked to Barbara Marx Hubbard. She's not some kind of omnipotent puppet master, though it certainly seems that way some days. You know, but she was, it was Jonas Salk, the inventor of the polio vaccine, who convinced her to take up this life. And at his death, he said, "No one has done more for my work and for the earth than Barbara Marx Hubbard." So even the inventor of the polio vaccine himself said, "No, you've done more for the great work than I have." Crazy. So she is such a huge player that got off scot-free for so long till someone found that clip of her saying, "The babies we eat." And to be honest, dude, she was an old lady who stumbled on her words in that sentence. I actually do give her the benefit of the doubt. She misspoke. But I don't forgive her for what she wrote in her book. Remember, "We are the pale rider death, come to destroy a quarter of humanity," blah, 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 right? I don't forgive her for her words written in her book. I forgive her for her silly misspeak. But I'm glad that it happened because it brought a lot of attention to her, right?
Right.
Very good. So I wanted to cover Wilcock really quickly, and now I'm going to roll back up to where I intended to go.
Okay.
So after we were talking about the First Earth Battalion, their crazy field manual, super soldiers, all this garbo, who they were meant to fight, I don't know, aliens, Russians, terrorists, I don't know, asteroids. But this is the clip I want you to play next. Everyone will know this clip, but they won't know what comes after it. You won't be expecting this, people.
People were not mad, but they were like,
Yes.
"Oh,
why didn't you play the clip?" I saw that. Yeah. Here's the clip, people. I don't have any. I'm going to expose this. Yeah. Just go.
Yeah.
Hit it.
We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now, at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids, we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie. He didn't mention a timeline, but he said that it was going to be speeding up faster than anybody could possibly imagine. The effort to put weapons in space was not only based on a lie, but would accelerate past the point of people even understanding it until it was already up there and too late.
Okay, so she says, and I'm gonna let's deconstruct what she said really quickly here. So she said the enemies of humanity, the cards that would be played were the commies, terrorists, nations of concern, asteroid, aliens. Commie threat is gone for the, well, essentially, right? In the 1990s, they kind of managed to dissolve that threat with their New Age Soviet American Citizens Summit, infecting everyone with their New Ageism, right? After that, so like, let's say like 1990s, early 1990s, they got rid of the commie threat. What happened in 1991? The first attack on the World Trade Center by Osama bin Laden.
Mm-hmm.
And that culminated obviously in 2001's repeat attack. It culminated in ISIS and ISIL and al-Nusra and all these organizations that we've been battering and going back and forth with for 20 years now. That's died out a lot, hasn't it? That slowly faded away.
Yes.
The whole worry
yeah.
about that. Now we're on nations of concern. North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, Canada, Greenland, right? We're on our nations of concern arc at this point. Next, she said, is the asteroid, but he laughed. I wonder if they wouldn't just destroy a city and blame it on an asteroid. Who would be alive to disprove it? Just saying.
I mean, they've come out with movies too, right? Like Don't
Yeah.
Look Up.
Mhm.
They're obviously
Deep
pushing.
Impact, Armageddon.
Yep, exactly. Right.
And then-
Apophis 2027, 2030.
So
all this
asteroid, I just have a question. So nations of concern has been 2001. And so commies was up to the 1990s. Terrorists were like 1991 to 2021, kind of. Nations of concern were started like kind of like 2001-ish with Iraq, right? We were worried about Iraq and all these other things, and slowly is building up now to like, now that's the main enemy. Asteroid, question mark, hasn't happened yet. You know, will they even bother to pull that card? Maybe they just skip that card and go straight to aliens. I don't know. But now we're seeing a massive, like, we have gone from nations of concern to talking about aliens in about what, 5 months?
Yeah. Dude.
Whereas before it took 20 years, and then it took like 30 years, and then it took 50 years. Like she said, it would speed up until it hit the end point and no one would know. And that's kind of what I see happening, is we're speeding through these cards faster. In fact, it takes less time to get through each card than the one before it.
Well, how about this? All of a sudden we get UFO disclosure, but then, I mean, the one main factor behind all of this that we've been given is that there's dark forces of the government that are restricting the information out to the public.
Right, like
There's
Stephen
more
Greer
of this-
said.
Yeah. There's just more prison planet stuff being held to even a higher factor with, than anything else with this UFO stuff. You
And-
kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and all disclosure is controlled disclosure, because no matter what, someone has to release the documents some way. Like either they do it, as Greer said, chaotically and just dump everything and say, here you go, aliens are real, we got it. Or they do it in a controlled fashion that doesn't cause as much of a political panic or a public panic like they are doing now with the Fox News report and greasing the wheels of the boomer minds who watch Fox, getting the aliens in there for them to think about. Yeah.
Like it's oxidized
Yeah.
the dark forces of this world. I mean, like within, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. Yeah, people were talking about the Freemasons, the Illuminati, the black magicians, right? But now it's like
the men in black.
everyone's, yeah, because people want more. People want to be initiated more with the UFO phenomenon.
And it's funny you should use the word initiation, because that's what it is.
It is.
Initiation
it
into the
is.
mysteries of theosophy, right?
Just
So-
think. Go ahead.
Oh no, please.
No, just think what's happening here, and I just want to also kind of throw this out there as well with the Christian perspective, with all of these books and these hidden texts and all of this stuff. There's there's a taste of hidden knowledge behind these things, and when we're getting these ideas presented to us, right? Someone that's just been faithful to the 66 books of the Bible and have stayed steadfast with that, we're in a time where we're in an information age, and I'm not discrediting all of the texts out there. I do have my issues with certain texts out there, but just think of it from a general perspective. The Christian is being initiated with hidden knowledge, and now that they are being presented with this hidden knowledge, they're deciding to choose it and to take it. Just like Neo had the option of choosing the red or the blue pill, he had to actually take the action. And that's what people are, because there's something about hidden knowledge and hidden wisdom or information that us human beings, it enlightens us, right? It's just a natural thing, right?
Maybe.
Being given information without researching it necessarily is it's a natural phenomenon that happens to the person where they become enlightened. They're like, oh wow, did you know this, bro? Like, yo, Book of Enoch, dude, yo, like.
But I think it serves to lower baser human emotions in most people. It's the lure of gnosis, right? The allure of the unknown, of knowing, but there's also pride and power that comes with it because it gives you that sense of you're smarter, you know more, you know more about the world, you're more observant, I've seen a lot of conspiracy theorists with a superiority complex because of what they know. Right?
Right.
And I feel like to a lot of people, it's not as deep as that. It's actually much more base and primal. And it's like the desire for power over others, which is rife in our society, no matter what. Anyway, society's sick these days, and there may be no pulling it back. I'm not here to comment on that, but
I just feel like Christians are in some sort of way, we're being initiated with all of this information, just as like the initiate that's in the 14th degree of Freemasonry, and he goes and he hits the accelerated track, and he gets all the way up to the 32nd degree in so much time. There's a lot of information that's revealed to the initiate before he gets to that 32nd degree. And then when he gets to that 32nd degree, he's kind of like seems to have it all figured out. It's like the same thing happening to the church, man. I don't know. I just a feeling I have.
It's like hindsight, right? At being able to assemble what you already knew with like now new information has come to light, as Lebowski would say, right? New stuff has come to light, and then that helps you reassemble what you already knew. And I think that's how the Masons do it. But I'm not. They're just so weird. I don't find joy in researching Masons. I do note when they pop up. I have a whole section of my runoff, like my extra for this script, at the bottom here, where it was like other people, like Masons and science fiction authors, stuff like that. One day we could do some of that or whatever. For Carol Rosen, though, an interesting. She used to work on rockets with Fairchild Industries. That's where she knew Wernher von Braun. But there's two interesting things of note with her. It says, born in Wilmington, Delaware in 1944, she received her Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Delaware and an honorary doctorate from Archbishop Solomon Gbadebo of the Orthodox College in Nigeria. So I was kind of like, that sounds cool. What the Solomon, what is it? Archbishop Solomon Gbadebo of the Orthodox Church in Nigeria. I tried to look him up. I couldn't find anything on that guy. I don't even think he exists. I don't even think her honorary doctorate is real. But I did find it interesting that the one thing I did find that maybe says he's real, it says born 1924, Bishop of the Universal Orthodox Church. Gbadebo was the patriarch of the Universal Orthodox Church in Nigeria. I don't know what that's new to me. The Universal Orthodox Church. Maybe someone one day will just take a quick look and see what that's about. That's a bit a bit weird. I don't know what the deal is with that. So she got a weird honorary doctorate from a Universalist Orthodox patriarch. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But anyway, she was the first woman allegedly to work at, in the aerospace executive at Fairchild. And it says she was involved in involved in the movement to stop anti-satellite weapons and the Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI. During her time at Fairchild, Rosen served as the spokesperson for Wernher von Braun, with whom she created film and educational programs such as It's Your Turn to expand the diversity of people working in the science fields. So you can already see diversity, equity, and inclusion kind of peeking around here with these people. That actually started with these people, didn't start with the leftists, started with the conspiracy theory people that everyone's like, oh, our heroes. Yeah, they're not your heroes. They hate you. Most of these people hate you. Greer, Rosen, these people, they hate you. Barbara Marx Hubbard hates you, right? So stop putting faith in what they say. So let's look at what they are instead.
Yeah.
So it says the program won many awards, including the Aviation Writers Award and the Science Teachers Gold Medal. It says Rosen helped create medical and educational training programs with ATS-6 satellites in the U.S., including the first two-way radio and visual national and international satellite education program. So she was very involved in satellites, but she was against weapons in space. Here's her website, peaceinspace.com. Let me just take a quick look see here. I had some more bio of her somewhere. Didn't I? Oh no, that's the next part. Okay, yeah. So this is her website, Peace in Space. I love how it's Xi and Putin. At one point, she says we need a peace president, and then has a picture of Putin next to that comment. Like, she's a silly girl sometimes. I have some pictures that will go with this presentation, though. Let's take a quick look see here. So these are just some of the holes that people have noted in Rosen's life and story and argument and just her philosophy. This was a Reddit conversation about it was in the UFO section. People were talking about Carol Rosen. Says most of her work in the last 20 years has been done in Russia and China, according to her own biography on her website, Peace in Space. And it says Peace in Space is an interesting group indeed. There was a bunch of stuff going on there. On her website, it's like, we need a peace president, and it says chooses Vladimir Putin. She's a silly moron, right? So there's a bunch of holes. Oh, you go ahead.
No, yeah, hey, appreciate it, Tara. Thanks for the super chat. Stephen and Chatters, I love you so much. Jesus Christ is King. Amen. Much love back to you and appreciate you. I saw you checking out the episode I did with William earlier today. Much love. Appreciate you so much.
So onto our next picture then real quick. That was just it's just some little comments. Not a lot of people are big fans. A lot of people see a lot of problems with this, okay? The next one here we have is an article from Jeff Rentz, the silver-haired conspiracy man himself. Yeah, I put the next one in the thingy for you.
Oh, okay.
Rents. Yeah. The coming ET threat will be a lie by Duncan Rhodes for Rents.com. His email is at Nexus Magazine, which is a Barbara Marx Hubbard futurist magazine. This is Duncan Rhodes, like the popular conspiracy guy, even to this day. So he's suspect. He works with Nexus Magazine. He says, hi, Jeff, as in Jeff Rents. I've attached below the startling testimony of Carol Rosen to the project Disclosure, Stephen Greer. Take note of the date. It is well before September 11th and subsequent events. It deals with the hidden agenda to weaponize space under the cover of 4 bogus threats. Why 4? I thought there was 5. Russians, terrorists, rogue nations, an asteroid, and ET. Okay, so this was Duncan Rhodes trying to get Jeff Rents to cover her, but he works for Nexus Magazine, which works for so he was basically promoting his own people to Rents. This is the email in question here. It's like Duncan M. Rhodes, editor, Nexus Magazine. And he has a quote by Aldous Huxley as the end of his email that he signs off his emails with. Weird.
The nature of the universe is such that ends... Wait, hold on. The nature of the universe is such that ends can never justify the means. On the contrary, the means always determine the end. Aldous Huxley.
Strange. And at the bottom of this article, there is one comment by one smart guy here, Scott T. Davis. He says, Dear Jeff, as this lady supposedly tells her story, she states, Von Braun said the ET threat is a lie. Note, he did not say there were no ETs, just that they were not a threat. Who's that remind us of? Greer and all aliens are good aliens, right? But this is the part of the bottom here that makes me laugh. He says, also, if she's so knowledgeable about space-based weapons and rubbed elbows with the power elite in the military and claims to be so well-versed in weapons systems, she ought to know the Scud missile was not Russian-built. It was a rocket built by the Chinese. So there's just little errors all over this place, right? That people have seen over the years, little mistakes that pull into question the entirety of her character and her story.
Wow.
Just saying. So, Carol Rosen is actually she was involved in all of the Soviet-American dialogues. She would go over to Russia before travel there was even legal, basically. Like she was going on like diplomatic auspices essentially over there. We've got there's an organization called the Lifeboat Foundation.
Yes.
And she's a member of it. She's a massive member of it. They have her massive biography of her. I won't cover the whole thing, but I want to point out a couple key details of who she is. At the bottom, it talks about a company called Celestis Incorporated. It's a rocket company, kind of like SpaceX, but smaller. And she is the one who, have you heard the story that Timothy Leary's ashes were launched into space?
Yes.
Have you heard that Gene Roddenberry's ashes were launched into space?
I think so.
Yeah,
I know the first one for sure.
Yes. She is the one behind all of those because they were all her friends. And she is the one who had Celestis Inc. doing this. And so there are other names as well, like Kraft Eric and space physicist Gerard O'Neill are also, they were World Future Society members, big scientist guys involved in the more sciencey side of the UFO angle. That's the thing, is they weren't involved in the UFO side. They were involved in like the humans conquering space, right? They weren't the woo. The World Future Society wasn't the woo aspect. They were the hard science. They were the people who were like Isaac Asimov and Neil deGrasse Tyson sketching designs for space stations and lobbying the government for studies and stuff, right? And then there's the woo people who they connect with regularly, but they go off and they do their own thing. And so it's like dual agendas, but they're friends this whole time. And they're attacking different angles of it. Like some people are handling the science, some are handling the woo, some are handling the legal, some are handling the new age, right? So a couple of interesting things to note about her. It says, the company Celestis Inc. afforded Carol the opportunity to keep a promise to her friend, Dr. Timothy Leary, to launch his ashes into outer space aboard a Pegasus rocket from the Canary Islands off the coast of Spain. And she eventually did it with rocket scientist Kraft Eric, Gerard O'Neill, Gene Roddenberry. She attempted to do it again recently and launch, was it Leonard Nimoy into space? And the rocket actually re-entered the atmosphere and it all burned up. Don't play with forces that you shouldn't be messing with, lady. So
stay on the ground.
A couple of other options. She's deep friends with Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell, part of the Institute of Noetic Sciences that he founded, right? All the woo science about the soul. Further up, we can see here, Carol replaced the late futurist, author, and scientist, Dr. Isaac Asimov, as coordinator of the Space Commission for the World Government of World Citizens, founded by Gary Davis. That's the World Citizen movement I brought up last time. Gareth Davis. He was the guy who printed his own passport and went to countries and said, accept this, I'm a citizen of the world. And some countries did. And that created a legal precedent that allowed him to then sell those memberships to other people and allowed them access to these cooperative nations that had signed on to the World Government of World Citizens. This is the last thing, though. She is a 5-star general in the First Earth Battalion founded by Lieutenant Colonel Jim Channon. She is a 5-star general in the First Earth Battalion. That crazy super soldier program. What are you doing there, lady? What is this? What is any of this? Like, I struggle some days, chat, what am I looking at here? This isn't, like, it's madness, right?
Yeah.
This is silly. It's all here, right here, but everybody's been too busy listening to Alex Jones rant about Klaus Schwab to just look around at anything else. They've kept us distracted from the fact that these are the people who were building the conspiracy to take over after we beat the bad guys for them. Right? What is it? Like, what's going on? So I wanted to pull ahead quickly then, away from her a bit. A couple more examples. She was space consultant to Buckminster Fuller's World Games, a kind of Olympics, a proto-Olympics that they tried to. It's actually very similar to the enhanced games that Peter Thiel is behind in Las Vegas that are going on right now. If you haven't heard of that, the enhanced games are Olympics for everyone on any kind of performance-enhancing drug. There's one swimmer there who said, I'll take everything. I'll take everything. to win this race for $1 million, basically. And the guy looks like a gorilla. He's
Yeah, it's kind of
huge,
wild.
dude. It really does look like, dude, this is like the making public of the idea of, you know, modifying humans, building human potential, right? What better highlights human potential than these
Wow.
enhanced games, right? So that's kind of a creepy one. There's a lot. I guess just before we leave, then let's take a look at a book she wrote, because I love looking at books people write because they think you won't read them. Where is it? It's called For the Children. There we go. Take a quick look, see at this one, see what you think. Send that.
Here's
to
this dude, bro. Here, look at this guy.
Got to switch back to the screen. Yeah, look at this guy.
This guy's jacked.
Yeah, this guy's a machine. You wouldn't want to run into this guy on a bad day. But he's like, I will take all the juice. Give me all the injections. I will beat every record. You know.
Oh my god.
This is the beginning. This is the beginning of the new man. You're seeing the first new man kind of walking out, and you know, this
Oh
is
my goodness.
version 1, dude. I don't know, dude. Bit weird.
He's just a swimmer, dude.
You know? Yeah, dude.
Wow. And he's gonna try and beat all the records. Did you
And
notice that?
he will. That's kind of the point of this. They wouldn't do this if it wasn't going to happen, right? He's probably done it in private practice already handily and can do it on demand. And so they know he's going to be great.
Yeah. Yo, thanks for the super chat, Oscar. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, he says, for the ergonomic chair, LOL. Thanks, brother. Much love, dude. Yes.
That's amazing.
Let's
dude.
fund me. I need funding for a new chair. This chair sucks, dude, that I'm in. I'm like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm like,
I'm doing this. Dude, I was standing up doing the show for a bit.
Oh man, I have a desk that I can stand. It's electric. It can lift up because I'm bougie like that. I gotta have my Lamborghini doors on this thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this gaming chair is from like 2020. And I was gaming a lot.
Did you get it from Temu? Did you get it from Alibaba?
I pretty much, dude. Pretty much. My dad got it for me, and he definitely, shops Chinese.
Same, dude. And it's just, it doesn't have the same back support as it should. I feel
yeah. I need to get definitely a new one. I need cushion. I want to be sitting on the couch, man.
Getting old's a nightmare, bro. Oh,
Yeah.
I think I am going to stand up for a minute too. That was a good idea.
All right, what did you send something?
A book.
Oh, is
Yeah, I
this
sent
it?
a book, another Amazon book. This is
Okay.
a book that Carol Rosen had a hand in. I just want to take a quick look. You can actually read it's got a thing called read a sample. How nice of them to give us a sample. So this is For the Children by Susan Babcock with a foreword by Carol Rosen. So it says, For the Children is presented as the 3 life journeys of Dr. Carol Sue Rosen, my husband Craig Babcock, and myself, Susan, to identify how the enemy within can affect our lives. Carol graciously consented to bearing her soul, as it were, in sharing her deepest and often most painful experiences in her life. Open and honestly, she allowed me to act as a narrator to her incredible experiences with celebrities and a life-altering encounter that has the potential to change the world. I assume that's the Von Braun meeting that she's referring to. So if we click on, if you just get past that internet-based ads thing, if you just scroll down slightly, right below the book, it'll say read sample. You click on read sample. So so scroll down for the, so For the Children by Susan Babcock, forward by, read this.
So it says here, we dedicate this book to all the world's children, especially all the orphans, the innocent children, or the victims of the disease of war and conflict from which we all need a cure. The ancient mysteries had the remedy, and because the children are our future, perhaps we need to revisit this cure. Whoa.
In a later part of this book, she talks about initiating people into the ancient mysteries too. She's an occultist.
She is
one of them. I
She's a
don't trust
witch,
her.
man.
Yes, she's a witch. Yes.
She's a witch.
She can be scratched off the trustable board as far as I'm concerned. And I hope
Good
I
deal.
hope I've at least put enough of a doubt in people's minds about her credibility. I want people, don't just take my word for it though. Go looking yourself, because you're going to find stuff I missed. You'll recognize names I don't. You'll find links I don't. We can pull this whole thing apart the more of us that work on it. Many
Yeah.
hands make light work, or whatever they say, right?
Right.
So that was an interesting and accidental reveal there. They revealed, oh, they're followers of the ancient mysteries. Well, you're instantly written off my trust. I can't trust you anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
You're
You're
essentially a Mason or a Kabbalist or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're one of them.
Mystery religion, buddy.
Yeah, she's part of the mystery religion. So goodbye, platinum-haired witch. We can move on now. It almost seems like, so she came out telling us that the alien invasion would be fake. Werner von Braun told her the alien card, but it won't be real. So a fake alien invasion? Almost like, imagine trying to pull a fake alien invasion, but doing it so poorly on purpose that the illusion falls apart rapidly and easily, and people see through the hoax. That would be a fake alien invasion, right?
Yeah.
That's a possibility too. They could do it. Joe Rogan's old comedian friend, Tom Dillon, whatever his name is. He's been ranting about this for a while now. He's saying that the alien invasion will be so terrible that you'll be sitting there with your friends laughing at it, and that's kind of what I think we are going to see. It's going to be something. Yeah, let me get the clip of him for you. Sorry, I'm really sick and it's just throwing me through a loop.
Are you good?
Dylan. I think this is it. Oh wait. Yes, I think this is it. Yes, here you go. We can enjoy this.
Yellow.
No. I just sent it now. It's an X from Holden Colota. And it's just a clip of him.
Let me pull this up.
Again, I don't trust Tim Dillon either, but I'm listening to his tape.
There is a fake alien invasion. It is probably what Stephen Greer said, where they're just trying to, everybody's going to fall in line quick. But make no mistake, that invasion will not be believable. It will be like watching a bad school play. It will be a horror. And you will watch it and go, I don't believe any of this. I think it's fake. And you'll look at your wife and go, I think it's fake, but they're probably going to put us in camp soon. That's what your wife will say. She'll be smoking a bud because everyone's smoking now. And she'll look at you and go, this is probably fake. And you'll go, yup. And you'll go, but I think they're going to put us in camp soon. I think that's what this is. Because it's going to look like the shitty opening ceremony of the Olympics. That's what it's going to look. If they do a fake alien invasion, it's going to be like Cirque du Soleil, because it's going to be so over the top and ridiculous. And just know that if you're watching it, I'll be watching it with you. I'll be watching it from my home. You'll be watching it from yours. Just know that we'll be in camps. Maybe I wouldn't have been in a camp, but I opened my fat mouth and insulted everyone in this fucking administration. But so now I'll be in a camp now too. So just know that we're all going to be in camps if there's a fake alien. If there's no unifying moment, and no one believes that there will be. And no, you're not even going to believe the event that puts you in the camp. You will not even believe it. It's going to be so bad. It's going to be B-movie level horror. It's going to be so bad that you're going to go, oh, this is kind of bullshit.
I like that. Like I said, I'm not a big fan. I don't watch him, but that clip, that is a possibility, folks, right? That is a possibility that it's just so pathetic that it falls apart. And that's what they capitalize on to lead us into something else. We don't know precisely where they're going with all this. None of us do for sure, but we can see the direction they're steering people in, right? They're steering them towards aliens hard now. For what? I don't know. Is it going to be good aliens, bad aliens, real aliens, fake aliens? Will, as Bill Cooper said, the aliens be genetic hybrids between animals and aborted human fetuses? Like,
well, dude, this is from the Disclosure Day film. I won't play it because I'll get a copyright. But this is the image of the craft coming in the sky. You know what I'm saying? So it could. I feel like they're just kind of. we see some of these things in movies and for the masses, right? To
To grease the wheels.
yes,
So they move when they push you.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So,
but I do think at some point in this movie and in this movie trailer, humanity rises up against the aliens.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point. That's kind of why does every. I have a question. This is again this bit of a sidetrack, but why is it they say the Illuminati control Hollywood, but every movie I watch, the person with the Illuminati plan is the villain.
Dude, there's that symbol.
Oh, CE5. I guess, like kind of, yeah.
Yeah, not really.
It's still creepy, but so if the Illuminati control Hollywood, they do. I'm not saying they don't, but here's a question: the Illuminati control Hollywood, then why is every villain in every movie they have the Illuminati plan? They're the villain. Nobody in the movie theater likes them. Everybody thinks they're crazy, and everybody cheers when the hero defeats them. Why would the Illuminati because everyone says they use Hollywood to pre-program us and tell us everything. Why are they making themselves lose all the time? Why are they giving people all this hope that they can defeat them? Same with aliens, right? Not just the bad guy with the plan, but also the aliens. Every time, the good guy always wins at the end. And it gives people this hope that when this happens, all that hope that's been implanted in people, the guy who's watched Independence Day 50 times, he's going to get his plane and he's going to fly it at the UFO like the guy in the movie did, everybody's going to want to have a piece of the action. All those memories, all those feelings are going to activate in people. They're going to say, I could be a hero like Will Smith in the movie. Let's go fight you know what I mean? They're not planting pro-Illuminati propaganda in Hollywood. They're promoting anti-Illuminati propaganda in Hollywood. But for what reason? Because they do control. I'm not saying Hollywood's good, Hollywood's bad, but why are they making people feel like they're good heroes who can defeat the Illuminati? I don't understand that. Now, if we lived in an atheist world, I could see you would do that strategy if you wanted to root out dissenters. You'd make them bold, they'd make an action, you'd arrest them and get rid of them. But Satan doesn't want that. Satan doesn't want to martyr us immediately to get rid of opposition. Satan wants to try to convert us first. And if we don't convert, well, then it's the headsman's block for us, as we should all hope would be the end for us if we live in that time, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know if we live in that time right now, but we are definitely seeming like it's getting there. But yeah. I struggle with that. I feel like they're making people feel like they can defeat the darkness. And that reminds me of the whole angel of light.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Lucifer appears as the angel of light. And so I feel like the devil wants to sacrifice some of his pawns. He already has their soul. He doesn't care about George Bush. He doesn't care about any of these people he already has. He'll sacrifice them to get us to debase ourselves in rebellion against God. Because remembering, the government we get is God's judgment on us, on that nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rebellion against that is rebellion against God's judgment. The proper solution to bad government is to pray, that for those people to pray for Donald Trump to have a come to Jesus moment, or, pray for the nation to repent. But no, it seems to be inculcating rebellion. That's what Hollywood's for. It's inculcating a sense of rebellion in people, that we can beat the bad guys. Us humans, we don't need help. We don't need good aliens. We can do it ourselves. It's weird. It feels like something that's meant to be used on people later.
I agree.
They're inculcating a rebellious, we can do it.
Break free. Break free.
Yeah. Break free. Liberate yourself, as
Break
David
free.
Icke would say. Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened in the garden. Break free,
Mm-hmm. Just
do
free
what thou
yourself.
wilt.
Free yourself.
What do you mean God said this?
Yeah.
It's all that kind of stuff, man. It really is.
I had a couple more interesting guys. If you have time, it's up to you. If you're tired, if you need to go, I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm crashing.
Okay,
I'm crashing a little bit.
For sure. It's a good place to leave it, honestly, because the rest of it is kind of, yes, it builds on what we just talked about, but it's easy we're at a good stopping spot for it. So that's good.
Okay. All right. Good deal, man. Dude, this was a banger, man. And it's like you said, if we can all chip away and do our part with this whole thing, which I'm really intrigued by the whole entire New Age movement thing, and I've only been digging into it for like I'd say the past month, man, and it's everything.
It is.
It's everything, man.
From what I can tell, dude, it seems like the New Age and the positive outlook parts of this equation, right? The World Future Society types, the positive people.
Mhm.
It feels like they constructed. I feel like my opinion is, it seems like they constructed what I call it conspiracy land. That's the place we all reside. We have left. We no longer reside out there in whatever that is. Whatever that, we'll call it the harlot world, the old world, right? We no longer reside out there, most of us. And a lot of us find ourselves in conspiracy land. I find everywhere I look behind the scenes of this place that we're trusting Alex Jones and we're trusting Carol Rosen and, all these people, they've constructed most of this. And then they told us about the bad people and we walked into their area, and now they're sucking us dry monetarily, spiritually, and they're implanting us and parasiting us and leading us in bad directions and preparing us for something, preparing us for a rebellion against the bad, I guess. And who is the author of all rebellion?
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Dude, the chat loves you, man. They appreciate the hard work you put into this. They appreciate the time you put into this, and the research that you've compiled over the years is like, it's pretty fantastic. I'm not even gonna lie. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm throwing some chats up for you.
Thank you. I appreciate chat. Like there wouldn't be a point in doing this if there wasn't the chat. So you are the real people who make this function and make it have meaning. So thank you all for coming, and God bless God bless us all. We all could use a little bit of a helping hand these days. So thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it. And hopefully we can maybe finish just a little bit more of this topic up, and we can expose some more of this, because it's literally every single time I look at anyone, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of like one of those Russian dolls, dude. You think it's like,
it's over.
You think you've
it's
got
over,
to the
but it's
end
not.
and you're like, nope, dang it. It's like, oh,
Yes.
You're like, okay. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm following the lead with you guys, because John's an awesome researcher. I'm blessed to be connected with, a great group of guys that are, don't care about popping the lid off this thing. It's important.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, yeah, we're called to being a Gnostic is like keeping the information for yourself and using it as a power over other people, right? Like kind of lording it over other people and dishing it out sparingly to manipulate people. That's what Gnosticism feels like to me. Like the knowledge is secret. It's a secret. Only the initiate can have it. No, I'm just going to throw it all out there and you take what you want, people. Whatever they're doing, I want to do the opposite of, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great point, man. That's a great point. Well, I figured we could land this bad boy, and we can, hopefully in the near future, we can get into something else,
For
I
sure.
mean, there's
We can keep going.
yeah.
I got plenty more people. I've got plenty more notes here, and I can still go and get more because I didn't finish looking through all my research. So
wow.
I'll keep digging for everyone. I'll keep digging. Stay strong, everyone. Stay tuned, and keep supporting Stephen. He's doing awesome work, and it's just it's been a real pleasure to be here. Thank you, Stephen. It's a weight off my shoulders to share this, because now they can't just delete my. I didn't ever want to say this, but they could have just deleted my account and all this would have been gone. Wow. Instantly. I wouldn't have had any of it. It's happened to me once before. I was talking out during COVID and my account was deleted and everything was gone. And since then, for the last 6 years, I've been doing all this. And you know what? Now you can't delete it. Sorry, guys. So
nope. That's it.
It's it. It's out there. Thank you, Stephen. It's taken a weight off my heart, honestly, because I felt like a Gnostic. I felt like I wasn't doing my duty to God. I was keeping this knowledge secret, even though it wasn't intentional, and I wasn't trying to lord it over people. But I felt bad, and now it's getting out there, and so I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. No, you're a blessing, bro. And I'm excited to get John on with you. I want to get both of you guys on, because I feel like you guys are like the WWE tag team.
Yeah, I don't know.
Champions of the world.
he hits him with the left and I hit him with the right, because and you should have John on without me just to talk about Coe and Trump and Norman Vincent Peale and the family and the fellowship, the prayer breakfast meetings. He's got them dead to rights. I leave that to him, like too many cooks in the kitchen. I'm doing this, he's doing that. So
awesome, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
I look forward to it, boss.
All right, buddy. All right. Well, folks, listen, if you're still tuning in with us, I appreciate you. I love you. Chat, love you. Thank you for all the super chats and everything. It was an awesome show. And man, go back and revisit these shows here. I actually want to share the last show that me and S90 did, because that one's a pretty good one too. I'll throw it up on the screen so everyone can kind of get a quick reference for it. Because he killed it, that show too. I mean,
and it sets up, because if you don't know who Barbara Marx Hubbard is, listening to this show doesn't hit as hard. But if you know who she is ahead of time, and then suddenly you see, oh, she wasn't just a New Ager, she was with the futurists, and she was with the sci-fi people, and she was with the UFO people. She was everywhere, dude. She's the center of it all. As far I haven't found anyone more central than her ever in my life.
Well, I think it's hilarious because things that you'll send me. You type in people's names and then you quote Barbara Marx Hubbard, and like Google will tell you if there's an affiliation between the two, or it'll give you something. And
it'll try.
She's always everywhere. What's going on?
She must have been the busiest person who ever lived. I don't know, bro, but at one point she mentioned hearing a voice in her head, and John and I, from reading it, were convinced she was possessed by a demon.
Dude, she looks like she was. That little crooked smile, and I mean,
and things she says.
Oh yeah, man.
I wouldn't put it past a demonically possessed person to be extremely productive, right?
Yeah,
because they don't care about the vessel; they care about the great work.
Right.
Anyway,
Exactly.
Night, everyone. Love you all. God bless.
Exactly. Much love, everybody. Head on over to patreon.com/The Biblical Hitman for all of your ad-free access and group chats, direct chats with me over there, a bunch of goodie bags. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out over on the YouTube channel. Like the show, share with your friends, and drop a comment down below about your thoughts of the episode. And if you have any input, please drop them in the comment as well, where if it's research-based or if it's anything that we may have missed. Also, come support the channel over on audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, and Spotify. Wherever you can consume all your podcast content, that's where the show is. God bless everybody, and stay close to the Lord in these times. Pray for each other, and have a great night.